The hospital scene appears with a question about 5 mysterious legends. The nurse is confused as someone points to a patient considered one of them. The recovery room is empty except for steady beeping machines. On the bed lies an intern once stripped of his soul by an angel. Deep Wuming, in the silent dark, a sound and a flash of energy erupt. A noisy voice complains the angel's scent is too strong. A toxic aura presses toward Wuming, wanting to devour him to level up, but the situation shifts unexpectedly, leaving it stunned. It bursts uncontrolled blue freezing light. The icy field is a domain that immobilizes targets. As it's pinned, a woman's voice yells at it for trying to eat someone before her. An imposing figure is Bai Wei. She judges the entity as a humanoid, a class monster. She instantly flings it away before it can react. Finished, she approaches to examine Wuming and asks his identity. A figure behind her answers softly, he is Deep Wuming, 29, a medical student given special long leave. Bai Wei curiously touches his eyes to check. She mutters that he drew upper-level attention and in a class monster's watch. He lies unconscious as if fallen from awareness, but in his mind, his hands still struggle. He bangs the door and screams to get out. No reply comes, making him collapse in despair. He laments that he only fell from a rooftop yet is locked in this shabby place. As he finishes, the door bursts open and drags him back forcefully. He falls flat, grimacing in pain. Seconds later, his eyes widen in shock. It turns out a whole hospital lies behind him. He is baffled, thinking he was trapped inside but is actually outside. A voice cuts in, saying he hit his head and is temporarily dull, making him retort. Wuming warily asks back after hearing strange voices around him. A silhouette greets him from the darkness. It is the self-proclaimed director. He introduces himself as Butler No, one of the All Gods Hospital. Wuming doubts his title and asks about All Gods. And no, one says only Wuming is somewhat normal here. His gaze hints Wuming will understand divine matters later. The hospital's new gate swings wide. Inside appears a bizarre scene as No one welcomes him. He finds the interior identical to his former internship site. The statue in the lobby draws his curiosity. Has told it will be replaced with his statue when he takes over. He asks if taking the hospital lets him leave, and no one affirms. Has given documents to sign for the post. It's an appointment naming him head of the All Gods Hospital. He signs immediately without hesitation. Nope. 1, surprised, asks why he didn't read the terms. He says he did, but without signing he can't leave. Nope. 1 confirms, so he hands it back, saying reading or not makes no difference. The system congratulates him and grants the Yen Emperor tome while diagnosing brain abnormalities. Then a strong force pulls his body, startling him. Before he can finish speaking, he vanishes from No one's sight. When he returns, his eyes glow green from teleportation. Now he stands on a high platform, and No one, shocked, says has reached the future. He narrows his eyes, realizing the figure is Archangel General Michael. 3 days later, a forced demand question echoes. Wuming answers calmly that he has said enough. A mysterious doctor prepares to resume something, but a dark figure grips his shoulder from behind to stop him. The scene turns chaotic with clattering objects in the night. The lights flick on, revealing a whole spread of food. The doctor sighs, scolding them for sneaking food despite restrictions. Wuming and Nanqing clutch snacks, flattering him to join in, but he sternly confiscates everything they're holding. They lament losing their midnight meal. The doctor leaves, exasperated, telling them to behave. They watch helplessly, unable to protest. Wuming dozes off but hears a strange rustle. The sound draws closer to his spot. Annoyed, he jerks up and yanks the curtain aside. A dark human-shaped figure acts bizarrely before him. It whispers to keep quiet or the doctor will notice. Then suddenly it bares sharp teeth and attacks. Its bite makes his friend Nanqing bleed heavily. Nanqing lies still, desperately begging Wuming for help. Wuming reels, unable to grasp what's happening. The creature shifts direction and springs upward. It roars it will kill Wuming too and eat him, but he has prepared items to fight back. A heavy blow to its head stuns it as he shouts. He grabs a hot water bottle as his next weapon. The throw splashes boiling water onto the monster, making it scream. Steam rises as its body convulses. Amid the chaos, Wuming carries Nanqing and flees. The weight on his back makes his steps stagger. Even so, he rushes on without giving up. He reassures his friend he'll find help for them both. But before he finishes, a horrific sound rings out. A claw pierces straight through him, blood spurting with a faint groan. The creature mutters curses about foolish humans. It fully possesses Nanqing's body, turning his form sinister. In the extreme chaos, Wuming reels amid pounding noise. Michael points his sword at him, coldly telling him to embrace fate. Voices everywhere pity the life bedridden for 5 years. His parents died of heartbreak. People say he is Xiao deep, brain injured after the impact. Future ruined. The mockery crushes his spirit. Unable to bear it, he bursts up, shattering the pressure. Michael again orders him to accept heaven's will. But as he finishes, the sight before him makes him freeze. Wuming lunges, throwing a lightning-fast punch with a roar. The blow smashes into Michael's face without mercy. His pent-up grief erupts in a furious scream. A blaze of rage ignites across his whole body. His voice blends with a power swelling violently through him. He unleashes everything, roaring he's had enough. That wild force drives his next punch forward. He accuses the foe of destroying his family. It forced him to lie immobile for 5 long years. But the monster still isn't down. even smirking in challenge. Wu Ming's tightening grip makes it change tactics. He grits his teeth, pulling his arm back to unleash his strongest move. A fairy scream erupts as a golden sword flashes into form. He slams the blade into the ground, shouting judgment. All the grudges in him surge violently. In that instant, he pours full strength into the life or death battle. His domain blazes bright across the whole city. Bai Wei, drinking water, startles at the radiant glow. Shiz shocked, judging its class power. Another voice affirms a godly silhouette inside the divine realm. The one who triggered it is Liu Bei, Captain 114 of Jing Ho. Bai Wei panics, insisting they find him before foes do. Liu Bei says relax. He smiles cryptically, saying someone will naturally seek him out. In another hall, annoyed voices complain about losing a rare genius. The muttering man is Chu Kingson, a career officer of Jing Hu's Team 114. After the long struggle, Wu Ming's arms go limp and the sword drops. He watches Nanqing lying still, full of sorrow. His friend's eyes remain open in death. Body drenched in blood, Wu Ming chokes out an apology for failing to save him. A bitter voice cuts in, saying he couldn't even save himself. He jolts and turns to find the speaker. The humanoid monster still lives, completely unfazed. With one shove, it makes Wu Ming stagger and collapse. It hoists him up with its huge body despite his screams to let go. He tries to summon the sword, but his hand is powerless. The blade won't materialize no matter how he tries. The monster chokes him, spewing venomous words about angel scent. It threatens to devour him to complete its evolution. At the critical moment, a sudden strike lands. It cuts the monster's arm, making it drop Wu Ming. He lands safely. Angsu Kingson exhales in relief, but before joy rises, he shouts for the monster to release the hostage. The wraith beast isn't weakened. It's splitting into two. One half keeps choking him. The other lunges savagely at Kingson. He realizes it's a species capable of division. He chuckles slyly that this is quite the coincidence. He declares he can split two, and Jing Lan appears instantly. She yawns, complaining about being dragged up at night to help. Still, she agrees to assist once more. She charges forward, calling loudly to draw the creature's gaze. As it turns its head, her weapon materializes. She swings a razor-cold slash that even stuns Wu Ming. Scared, the monster drops his neck and flees. Wu Ming clutches his throat, coughing in lingering pain. Jing Lan confidently instructs that to kill a monster you must observe closely. Jing Sen adds the first step is to break the crystal in its head, and the final blow. Jing Lan says, uses heavy force to finish it completely. The ferocious entity is finally slashed into countless fragments. The surrounding space gradually returns to normal. Wu Ming remains bewildered by what just happened. Kingson explains this is a barrier, and once the monster dies, everything restores. Hearing that, Wu Ming hopes his friend is alive, but Jing Sen hesitantly says not certain. The quiet is shattered by sudden chaos. Doctors rush to save Nancheng, but Jing Sen predicts he won't survive. Wu Ming's breath is still shaky, yet curiosity pushes him to ask about the creature. Jing Sen lifts a cigarette and tells of the Great Fog 150 years ago. Wu Ming reminds him not to smoke, and he says he just wants the scent after quitting long ago. He recounts the massive mist descending on the world in an instant. People first thought it was a rare weather event. Then cities were swallowed and humans vanished into the fog. Strangely, only Huaxia was untouched. The fog stopped at the border. Unable to cross, just as relief spread, new beings appeared within it. They were called mist wraiths, able to leave the fog and hunt humans. They were ranked F. Sess, the higher the rank, the more human-like. At the top of the Wraith Kings, whose intellect and form match humans, revealed only when omen birds detect them. At this point he pauses, staring at the cigarette. Fortunately, no sign of a king awakening has appeared yet. Wu Ming, agitated, asks if his friend died just because those creatures hunger for humans. Jing Sen looks straight and says no, the entity targeted him, making him indirectly cause his friend's death. The accusation makes him sweat and deny in panic, but Kingson says bluntly has a spirit bond prey for monster evolution. He tells him to admit he caused the tragedy. Wu Ming collapses into despair, blaming himself endlessly. Kingson places a comforting hand on him. He advises him not to let more people die because of him and to go with him. He introduces himself as Xu Jing Sen of Team 114. He explains career operatives are people like him and want him to join, but Wu Ming swats his hand away. He says Kingson is tricking him and he almost believed it. Kingson laughs, asking why he speaks so harshly. He explains operatives are a national group recruiting those with domains or divine realms. They exist to slay monsters and also be monitored for their danger. Wu Ming doesn't believe and tells him to leave after finishing. Kingson grabs his collar, shaking him and asking why he won't reconsider. He looks straight back, saying no need to repeat. He only wants to live like a normal human. Kingson frowns, saying since chosen by a god is no longer normal. Wu Ming freezes at that. He clenches his fist, knowing it's true but still wanting peace. He returns to his hospital room late at night. He can't sleep, torn about whether to heed the advice. He forces his eyes shut, thinking leaving normal folks may be right. Suddenly he bolts upright as if yanked from his body. He finds himself again before that strange hospital gate. A man appears and calls him the beloved beloved director. He bows formally to welcome him. Wu Ming steps back warily, telling him not to approach. No two instantly kneels in tragic theatrics. He wipes tears with a handkerchief, lamenting misplaced affection. Wu Ming, confused, says he wasn't like this before and should act normal. Suddenly No two stands and explains it's a misunderstanding. The one he met earlier was his elder brother No. 1, while he is No. 2. He questions why the two look identical. No. 2 indignantly claims he has one silly hair different. Wu Ming ignores it and asks where his brother is. Shift rotation lets him rest while No. 2 opens the gate all week. Wu Ming wonders why he returned here. The man calmly says this is his facility, so returning is natural. More importantly, he triggered a divine realm, so the system forcibly pulled him in. He asks about the first ward, and No. 2 confirms many patients remain there. He gazes at his own statue with a strange feeling, and the man says it looks handsome. Feeling people memorialize him makes him uncomfortable. As if it died, No. 2 excitedly recalls he never finished introducing the hospital. The building has 8 floors, with the first of the staff in common area. He leads him to a quiet, separate section. It is the luxurious, fully equipped office of the director. Wu Ming looks around curiously at the room packed with books. He tries to take one but finds he can't touch it. No. 2 tells him not to try since he lacks the qualification to open them. The contents are too powerful and locked to keep him safe. He urges him to stop browsing and move on to inspect the wards. The basement key is lost, forcing him to search himself, irritating him. No. 2 casually admits neither of them is trustworthy anyway. But he says it doesn't matter since the basement is an empty jail. Wu Ming doesn't know the basement is covered by a black seal. He asks about access to the 3rd floor, and the man says conditions must be met. He suspects the place is sealed by some kind of binding sigil. No. 2 confirms it since those patients are extremely dangerous. He hesitates at the ward door, asking if he should enter, but no one answers. Turning back, he finds the man has run off. He even left a teasing good luck message. The attitude leaves him completely stunned. In the end, he must face the room alone. Wu Ming slowly reaches for the door. His eyes dart around in confusion, searching for something. After searching with no result, he sighs in despair. A faint sound outside suddenly draws his attention. He strains to turn the door, but it refuses to budge. Amid the chaos, a system panel appears saying he must create a file to open it. He mutters he has no idea how to register when no one is around. He rummages the room, but even the floor is bare. His eyes show rising frustration from finding absolutely no one. A disheveled-haired woman's silhouette flashes before him. Then the scene empties again, leaving only a chilling echo. Elsewhere, No. 2 shivers, grateful he ran early. No. 1 asks if the patient is terrifying, and No. 2 just shakes anxiously. They complain there's no case file, so details are unknown. No. 1 says he checked the shelves and found all black medical books. Hearing that, No. 2 turns pale at the severity. Book color shows danger level, and black means extremely critical. No. 1 says the darker the color, the harder the treatment, but the director's reward is greater. No. 2 notes that's only if cured. Since past life spent years on one case, No. 1 suddenly grows serious, asking if the world faces a huge crisis. No. 2 confirms the last black book appeared when the world nearly perished. The two exchange uneasy looks. Finally, they sigh in pity for the director. The gloomy scene around Wu Ming makes him pale. He tries greeting with awkwardness, but the figure stays silent under her curtain of hair. He introduces himself as director and confirms she's the patient. The system reveals patient Gaye's file with details and treatment mission. Hearing the name, he imagines a peerless beauty. He grows curious about the famed Earth Mother Goddess, a being who birthed gods. Now a patient, the more he ponders, the more confused why is a creator deity here. Whoever built this hospital must be unimaginably strong. He doubts why he, a normal person, was chosen as director. Gaye suddenly demands why he imprisoned her children. He grows more flustered. Not understanding, she repeats angrily, voice full of fury. The pressing tone digs deeper. He stammers, "Who are they?" in confusion. Suddenly her hand clamps his throat. She interrogates him about imprisoning her offspring. The pain makes him struggle to breathe. His twisted face rasps for help. He nearly dies under her grip. This day truly offers no rest. This is the ancient Greek goddess of legend. She is mother of countless gods, once having her children locked within her by Uranus. So they are those very children. He seems to grasp the treatment direction for this case. A novice director still learning, and he receives a small reward. The scene shifts to another place. He relaxes, feeling freedom again. A sudden bicycle brake screeches nearby. The wheel skids, kicking up thick dust. He inhales the dust and coughs violently. The breaker is Li Jin, his 13-year-old cousin. Annoyed, he taps his head, scolding the reckless riding. Li Jin clutches his head, wanting in pain, teasing his cousin's strength despite 5 bedridden years. Wu Ming asks about her, and Li Jin says mom is working and will go to the cemetery later. Before he can react, his cousin urges him to hop on quickly. Li Jin taps the bike rack, telling him to sit for now. He shyly says the traffic is heavy, so please bear with it. The small bike carries both brothers as he pedals eagerly. His bulk in front makes the bike creak heavily. They finally reach the cemetery, the resting place of Wu Ming's parents. He stares intently at the grave. He softly apologizes for coming late. A strange voice asks permission to light incense. It is Xu Jingxin approaching with flowers. They politely tell him to go ahead. He sets the bouquet before the parents' grave. But after finishing, they tell him to leave. She reminds gently, while Jingshan wants to speak privately with Wu Ming. She places a hand on his shoulder, urging him to listen. She gently tells him to be honest to resolve things. Wu Ming follows Jingshan, while Li Jin comments outside. Any issue must eventually be faced. Wu Ming coldly asks if he has anything left to say. Jingshan says he didn't finish that day's story. He sits down looking composed. He asks if he wants to know about Michael, the one who caused his ruin. Wu Ming's face darkens at the name. He admits he really wants to know. He wonders why myths have entered real life. Jingshan begins with the 1902 incident. With no mist, 3 people cut through the forest at night. Caught in rain, they took shelter in a cave. A golden lightning bolt suddenly struck down. A falling object created a deep crater. They approached to inspect out of curiosity. They saw a being with 12 radiant wings. It was Angel No. 003 Michael. The timing shocks Wu Ming, but Jingshan confirms it. They still question whether gods summoned the mist or the mist summoned gods. Someone once spoke to a god and learned the mist pre-existed but later lost control. He instantly catches the key point and asks who once controlled the mist. The question makes Jingshan shake his head since gods speak vaguely. They found that before the mist, 7 beings descended, far stronger than later ones. He says this means pact holders with strong gods gain terrifying power. He asserts Wu Ming has great potential and should protect humanity. He frowns and refuses, hating forced responsibility. He only wants to stay with his remaining loved ones. Jingshan warns that spirit entities may not let him live peacefully. He points to the distance as an example. Bawei appears, greeting with a shining aura. Beside her is a bound and restrained spirit entity. The sight stuns him. Jingshan gives him a secret note. He says it has a contact number if he reconsiders. Then he and Bawei leave without looking back. Wu Ming stands there confused about what to do. Dawn comes with bright light. In his hand is the note Jingshan left. He examines it carefully. Li Jin curiously asks why he looks so dazed after yesterday's talk. Wu Ming asks back, if you had power, would you save the world? Li Jin's eyes shine like seeing a superhero. Then he stomps the ground with fiery spirit. He vows that if he had power, he would protect his world at all costs. Wu Ming laughs, saying youth is always full of fire. He tells him to keep that passion while he goes to sleep a bit. He quickly leaves the room, leaving Li Jin staring blankly. The boy reflects on the word passion. Maybe everyone simply doesn't want to see the world collapse. The scene shifts to a completely new setting. Wu Ming is doing something hard to guess. Hearing footsteps. He asks if they don't need to knock this time. No one appears formally, welcoming the director back. Wu Ming sees the familiar bald head and confirms it's no one. No one reports patient file. No one is on the desk ready anytime. Hearing this, he bows, always ready to assist. Wu Ming praises no one is reliable, while no 2 always betrays. As he leaves, the system records the date 20/6/2006. No 2 mutters in his diary that the new director called him useless. No one asks what he's doing. He answers, writing grudges. No one sweats, recognizing that notebook. No 2 explains there are dozens of boxes of such grudge books for past directors. And this one is for the current director. In the dark room, Wu Ming studies the records closely. He wonders why there's even a key inside. Everything makes him more curious about patient case no. 1. The notes state Gaia as the Earth Mother Goddess harmed because her son is sealed inside her body. He struggles knowing all outside information will auto-update into the case file. He tosses the key upward, then catches it, murmuring that if the data is right, this illness has a cure. Green light flickers around the notebook. The system warns only methods in the director's book can cure it. As he steps out, a call makes him turn back. No one appears with a pile of pastries announcing tea time. He panics thinking he'll be crushed, then refuses tea. He adds his heading to meet Gay. Before going, he shows the key he found. No one is shocked, recognizing the basement key. Wu Ming freezes, not expecting it to be that key. No one confirms it was long lost and asks where he got it. He says it was on the case file. While no one insists he did put it there, he concludes someone in the hospital must have left it. He says hell go to the basement. Tea time is no. One's own problem. No one again blocks him with a pastry tray. He urges the director to prioritize curing the patient first. Basement later after reaching 1%. He doubts why. No one vaguely says something is down there. Hearing this, he walks off complaining about annoying rules. When is far, no one rushes after him. A worried voice asks if she has returned. No one prays she hasn't. If she returns, this director will face huge calamity. Standing before the patient's door, he tells himself that if he dies, he'll just restart. Then he boldly grips the doorknob. The dark room feels like a game boss arena. He enters and tries talking, asking if she still remembers him. Hearing his voice, Gay's eyes blaze fiercely. Her arm rises high as if she's about to charge. He cries out tearfully, "Mother, I missed you so much." His words immediately calm her mind. The pressure on him lightens noticeably. He weeps, begging like an abandoned child. She starts softening as she looks at him. Her lips murmur, "My child." He answers quickly to maintain stability, but she grows suspicious, remembering her child had only one eye. He freezes, realizing he forgot her son was a cyclops. He improvises that he grew another eye, and she presses how it grew back and why he shrank. Her barrage of questions leaves him speechless, unable to fabricate more. He thinks fine, if he dies he'll just revive. After considering, he claims he had cosmetic surgery to blend in. The room falls utterly silent. She raises her hand as if about to strike. He shuts his eyes awaiting the blow, but she hugs him tightly instead of attacking. A mother's tender, pitying voice surrounds him. A system report appears during the hug, noting gear therapy at 3% and file unlocked. Wuming proudly thinks he truly is a genius. The dark chamber holds only faint light from their embrace. No, 2 laments for the director getting a mother and being accused of facial edits. No, 1 blames him for forgetting reminders. No, 2 retorts the other's vague shift schedule caused the director to use the wrong method. No, 1 pivots, saying it's the director's fault for not reading the file. No, 2 agrees and plans to dump all blame on him. Suddenly, a fluctuation in aura appears. Both turn in panic. They demand, "What is that?" No, 2 babbles nonsense, repeating his partner's words wrong. Finishing the sentence, he panics and runs away. Wuming understands nothing, only sensing that guy caused trouble again. Ignoring it, he keeps searching through the books, finding one. He picks it up to inspect. Opening the first page, his eyes freeze. The entire book is completely blank. A voice behind softly apologizes to the director. Because of a missed reminder, the therapy was counted invalid except for methods in the director's manual. Wuming snaps angrily, criticizing the mechanical book-based approach. He mocks giving books directly to patients and feels exhausted. He slumps to the floor. He wonders where the Flame Emperor manual is now. No, 1 says it's on his person, a gift given upon signing the post. He turns back asking how to use it. No, 1 hesitates, saying it's his private right so they don't know. Things grow more tangled. Wuming blames the hospital for swallowing people whole. Exhausted, he returns to his room to rest, yet his mind stays full of doubts about the Flame Emperor manual. Thinking so hard he jolts up, lamenting that his divine realm hasn't worked for days. Suddenly he notices something unusual. He flings open the window. Heart nearly dropping, Su Jingshan is floating outside, waving casually. Wuming screams helplessly at him. He reminds him this is the 22nd floor. Crawling inside, Jingshan pants, saying he's exhausted. Remembering the climbing scene, Wuming scolds his recklessness. Jingshan says this matter must stay secret, so he couldn't use the main door. Hearing that, he curls up warily, fearing weird intentions. Jingshan sighs that even if his mind were crooked, he wouldn't look at him that way. As he speaks, the uncle pulls out a sheet of paper. Wuming looks, not grasping his intent. Jingshan points to it, saying it's what the organization sent him. Wuming immediately refuses, not wanting ties to the Association of Executors. Jingshan turns serious, saying it's compensation for his parents' deaths. Mentioning his parents makes Wuming's eyes darken. He questions if that guy wasn't the real culprit. Despite the harsh tone, Jingshan calmly says no. He says the higher-ups sent documents this morning implying the deaths are linked to File C. This makes Wuming wonder what File C is. Jingshan explains it's the top secret case group of the executors, divided into File Records Unsolved Domestic Cases, like the old Red Eye Killer case. File B covers incidents outside the mist, which he lacks clearance for. File C is defined by involvement with gods. For example, the 1902 Michael crater is in C and was declassified only after his divine realm appeared. Wuming's face darkens as he asks how to learn the truth about his parents. Jingshan stands, explaining that such files are usually opened only when related gods emerge. But there is another way. He steps closer, placing a hand on his shoulder to reassure him. He says that by rising through the executor's ranks, anyone can access all 3 files. Wuming brushes his hand off, saying the goal is still to lure him into the organization. Su Jingshan hurriedly denies it, saying he only came to deliver money. The choice is his, and no one forces anyone today. Bai Wei groans that to know if a melon is sweet, you've got to taste it yourself. She bites a big slice of melon, praising its sweetness. Eating, she asks about Jingshan persuading him for half a month. Liu Bei sets the melon down, wondering if recruiting Wuming is right. Bai Wei objects, saying joining the executors can't possibly be wrong. As they argue, another voice cuts in, saying don't worry, everything is fate. It is Zhou Nancheng, Vice Captain of Squad 144. His appearance makes Liu Bei's eyes brighten. The Vice Captain smiles warmly, but Bai Wei interrupts, saying no one understands how they talk. Both squad leaders answer in unison that it's a secret. Bai Wei protests, saying secrets exist to be shared. Liu Bei suddenly senses an abnormal sign. He clutches his eye in pain, alarming Bai Wei. He says he feels a huge swarm of spirit entities gathering around Wuming's home and must go immediately. Jingshan's footsteps sound as he steps onto the windowsill. Before leaving, he turns back, saying he delivered the money and will go first. Wuming feels danger rising fast and yells for him not to jump but use the door. That makes him scratch his head in embarrassment, saying it's a habit. Wuming stresses he must not get used to that reckless behavior. Suddenly both notice something wrong. He looks out the window and shouts, unable to believe what he sees. Jingshan confirms they are spirit entities and in massive numbers. They're surrounding fiercely, forcing Jingshan to rush out the main door, colliding with Li Jin. Seconds later, Wuming dashes out, telling Li Jin to stay inside and not step out. But Li Jin focuses on what he just saw and accuses him of hiding a weird uncle in the house. Wuming is too busy and only denies it. This makes Li Jin puff up proudly, claiming he understands everything. His misunderstanding angers Wu Ming. He runs off, shouting that explaining is useless, just don't leave the house. Li Jin sighs arrogantly. His face shows disappointment as he mutters insults at them all. Outside, Wu Ming urgently checks the situation. He freezes, cursing internally at the overwhelming numbers. Jingshan yells this is not something Wu Ming can handle, but Wu Ming grips his weapon, determined despite reluctance. The swarm of spirit entities ignites his fighting spirit. With danger closing in, he stands beside Jingshan, agreeing to charge. Then Jingshan's sword slices off his own hand, leaving him stunned. The blade instantly transforms into a blood-soaked weapon. The sword is so powerful it pierces the ground. Using it, Jingshan raises a giant red ring. The red ring expands across the whole city. He explains it's a sealing barrier. Basic skill of the executors. It shields civilians, and he says Wu Ming will use it one day. Wu Ming again refuses to join. He doesn't force him. Just as his spirit domain opens, Wu Ming wonders why his spirit domain takes human shape. Jing Lan appears and darts toward the enemies. Both charge forward, and she tells Wu Ming they'll explain once the foes are cleared. Hearing that, he nods fiercely. Battle spirit surging, his weapon shines as he laments it never appeared before but now finally does. Even though he doesn't want ties to the organization, the spirit entities enrage him beyond measure. They are vicious, roaring horrifically. Jingshan swings wildly, shouting hell cut them all down. Wu Ming matches him, each strike killing one, but his ambush from all sides. Their sharp claws rake across his golden blade. He blocks until drenched in sweat, complaining they never end. They're both many and strong, smashing his weapon out of his grasp. The situation worsens as they close in, threatening his life. But a sword slash cuts across a monster's mouth. It collapses motionless. It's Jingshan's strike. He roars a warning that he's still here, finishing one kill. He spins his blade for the next. He laments that if he had a spirit domain, he would need to kill them one by one. Wu Ming is shocked, both curious and confused. Jingshan laughs fiercely, saying they'll deal with it after clearing them. Wu Ming's sword is being pulled up from the ground. Jing Lan swiftly yanks it free and throws it back to him. He catches it without hesitation. His eyes blaze with resolve to wipe out the spirit entities. Each slash leaves long streaks of blood on the ground. The three split into three fronts, holding firm and fighting to the end. He pants heavily, complaining they grow like grass. Observing closely, Jingshan curses as he notices something off. The spirit entities suddenly laugh madly. Their aura shifting, they part to the sides as if welcoming something. A being with human-like legs makes Wu Ming suspect a humanoid form. Unlike the rest, its appearance and movements are bizarre. Jingshan shouts it's a humanoid spirit entity of rank or higher. Wu Ming panics, asking if no reinforcements are coming. They can't handle this. Even in danger, Jingshan lights a cigarette calmly. He replies nonchalantly that reinforcements exist, but since none have arrived, they must be in trouble too. The scene cuts outside the red barrier. A speeding car suddenly brakes hard. Bai Wei looks around, puzzled at the huge cluster of spirit entities. Ning Ning panics, asking if Dai Wu Ming has some monster-luring scent like Tang Sanzang. She jokes that one bite of him might grant immortality. Hai Shui props his chin, bored, unsure if it's true. Ning Ning stays enthusiastic, saying she'll bite to test if fate favors them, but danger hits instantly, freezing their faces. A giant spirit entity plants its foot on the car roof, and not just one, the whole pack surrounds the car. Ning Ning screams as the car shakes violently. Bai Wei accelerates hard despite the monsters blocking them. They finally break free from the chase. Ning Ning praises Bai Wei's increasingly wild driving. Bai Wei freezes the pursuing spirit entities, then detonates the ice instantly. Liu Bei activates reconnaissance skills 005N. He concludes they've found the den of the spirit entities. His spirit domain flares, confirming their overwhelming numbers. Ning Ning immediately launches herself forward. Her hands flash as she draws her guns. She prepares to fire while still airborne. Her face shows manic excitement, like meeting her favorite prey. In a blink, she guns down all spirit entities around the car. Bai Wei is nearly blown away by the bullet wind and yells at the madwoman. Liu Bei orders Hai Shui to find a sniper point and assigns the distant front to Bai Wei. Both answer their missions in unison. Bai Wei casually grabs Hai Shui and throws him upward. Hai Shui screams in terror. Bai Wei kicks off the car roof for momentum, then uses it to leap another floor higher. She turns back asking teammates for the target location. Hai Shui points to the tall building ahead. Bai Wei forms an ice staircase straight to it. She teases him to just fly over and reach the sniper spot. Nanqing startles, asking if she plans to drop Hai Shui freely, but she shows no concern at all. Thanks to his spirit domain, Hai Shui lands lightly. Liu Bei mutters Hai Shui surviving this long is pure luck. He glances at Ning Ning, implying he's tough too. He warns to watch Ning Ning so she won't slash allies. Nanqing points at himself, confused if he must handle her. He sighs, accepts, and flicks away a charging spirit entity. He complains the kids get harder to teach. Liu Bei kneels on one knee, clutching his right eye. Black aura leaks through his fingers. His other hand presses the ground to channel power. Space distorts around him as a barrier forms. Strange silhouettes appear before him. They seem to send a secret message. Hearing it, Liu Bei grows solemn, mentioning the red-eye spirit entities. He recalls just arriving at Executor's AQ. While waiting, he guessed Qin Ho had trouble, and he was called for that. Another captain agreed, saying they might need to write their wills. At that moment, the meeting room door opened, a superior entered, announcing a mission involving Manhwa City. They assigned Liu Bei to handle the incident there, and stated it was a red-eye case, requiring his team to block it before the mist. The assignee vowed fiercely that if still alive, had never let them appear again. Remembering now, Liu Bei's eye dims. The number of red eyes today is abnormal. His spirit domain erupts with his emotion. The divine eye rises in fury, destroying the monsters ahead. Elsewhere, Jingshan's trio strains to hold the defense. Wu Ming panics, asking how he can still smoke. He bites the cigarette, saying it's the last one. Wu Ming tightens his grip, ready to fight with them. The two instantly dash like lightning, charging straight at the high-ranked spirit entity. But Jingshan's strike is stopped instantly. They can't even touch it. All three freeze in shock. The spirit entity laughs coldly, mocking them as suicidal. Jingshan grips his great blade, yelling to break it apart, but even his strongest blow leaves no scratch. The creature calmly curls its fist, then channels power into its other arm. One swing sends all three flying. They are knocked down before reacting. Wu Ming staggers up, stunned by its power. Seeing the other two struggle up, he asks helplessly what to do. Suddenly Jingshan inhales deeply, acting like he had a plan. He exhales smoke, throws the cigarette, saying only one option remains. He produces an item and drips his blood on it, then explains the earlier question why his spirit domain takes human form. It was not a real spirit domain but a special bond of him. King Lan radiated power identical to his younger brother. He said his sister was killed by a spirit wraith and her will merge with him, sharing one body. A new chain blade appeared in his hand. Now both could summon true weapons. That was his real spirit domain. Wu Ming widened his eyes in disbelief. King Shan told him to watch closely. The sibling pair instantly dashed off. They harmonized and charged the monster, yelling to push it off the cliff. In a blink they closed in, flanking the target, but the spirit wraith showed no fear. Staying calm, blood-red glow enveloped its body. King Shan led with a heavy slash. His eyes blazed, marking his spirit domain activation. They crossed paths and dealt a twin strike. The blazing flame slash descended. Its body was shattered instantly, blood spurting, but the backlash made King Shan lose balance and fall. The spirit wraith seized the deadly opening. It lunged to finish him. Wu Ming threw himself in the way. He shouted that he was still here. He held a brick, giving a thumbs up praising him as awesome. The monster was already burning. In the flames it still thrashed in despair. King Shan faintly laughed, surprised by his first spirit domain's power, but then his vision darkened. His body staggered and collapsed. Wu Ming cried out in panic. He rushed to him. He held the uncle in his arms, calling non-stop. King Shan forced a smile. Proud he slew and swung spirit wraith. Wu Ming wept, shocked by his power. Lamenting the captain missed it. At that moment he felt someone grasp his hand. It was the gentle, smiling spirit image of the late sister. Her form faded like dispersing mist. King Shan smiled peacefully, closing his eyes, saying he could reunite with her. He quietly let go, accepting the end. Wu Ming burst into sobs, calling Uncle King. He raised his head and screamed out his grief. A blazing radiance engulfed him. The spirit wraith sensed a looming upheaval. A dark horned figure appeared clearly. The stranger thanked him, making Wu Ming shout in fear. It advanced step by step with crushing aura. Finally, it revealed a full oppressive spirit wraith body. Its face twisted into a vicious, evil grin. Wu Ming instantly recognized the newcomer's identity. His face hardened knowing it had evolved. He was stunned that the creature could speak human language. Fierce flames flared on the spirit wraith's hand. It bragged about the new power stolen from his comrade, then spat cruel words urging him to join them. It fired a destructive blaze straight at Wu Ming, but he managed to summon his blade to block. The blade briefly held back the fire, but the weapon cracked heavily. An explosion blasted Wu Ming far away. As the smoke cleared, scattered embers glimmered. He was leg injured and collapsed powerless. Wu Ming crawled toward King Shan, calling him. His pained eyes ignored his wounds. Still calling Uncle King, he dimly looked at him. Knowing his life was exchanged by him, resolve flared. He told himself he could not fall here. The system appeared, activating the Flame Emperor manual, stating the director was dying and starting treatment. His body was linked by spirit energy, healing piece by piece. It announced the director's wounds were fully healed. Seconds later, he stood firmly. The spirit wraith growled, shocked by his recovery, but Wu Ming ignored it, wanting only to take Uncle King away. It roared that none could escape this place. In a flash, countless fire pillars shot at them both. Suddenly, radiant golden wings appeared to shield them. The wings completely protected both Wu Ming and King Shan. He touched the man's face, whispering for him to wait. He recalled once wishing for an ordinary life. He thought leaving battle would bring peace. Now looking up, his changed eyes knew he had been wrong. His eyes flared with unusual power. Wu Ming summoned an entirely new weapon. He vowed only by slaughtering all monsters could he live normally. His figure dashed out like a god of judgment. The spirit wraith countered without fear, but Wu Ming's strike nullified its move. He used a single technique and landed lightly. The monster, gravely wounded, knelt under his gaze. He said he could not kill it yet. He staggered and fell, thinking injuring it was enough. Someone suddenly appeared to catch him. It was Bai Wei, apologizing for being late. She paled, looking around for King. Wu Ming coughed weakly, drained from overusing power. His trembling hand pointed afar. The team then saw King Shan lying motionless. Ning Ning burst into tears, covering her face. Bai Wei froze in disbelief. Nanqing bowed his head in despair and guilt. Xiax trembled and cried out Uncle King's name. No one noticed the spirit wraith still twitching. Its eyes flashed as it found a chance. A sharp beam shot straight at her, but Bei weakly blocked it. She turned angrily to scold the attacker. Her spirit domain gathered like an icy storm. Countless cold arrows materialized and shot forth. Her unleashed skill erupted with power. Her frigid spirit domain rang with its technique name. Waves of ice arrows blasted toward the spirit wraith. They struck, exploding cold dust through the air. When sight cleared, the monster was frozen solid. Bai Wei did not stop and shouted loudly. The move Frost Dragon Grip activated. A massive ice dragon coiled around the frozen mass. She charged with a cold spear full of wrath. The strike caused a freezing explosion, shaking the area. She stepped out of the haze slowly. Behind her lay the corpse of the rank spirit wraith, fully annihilated. She exhaled tiredly after the one-sided battle. His hatred faded, leaving only sorrow and relief. Bei Wei walked toward King Shan and the others. She softly spoke farewell for him to rest in peace. A week later, his funeral was held. The whole team stood before King Shan's grave. Wu Ming placed a new pack of cigarettes before the stone. He whispered sadly that now he could smoke. Old Su softly said he was addicted. Now no one would stop him. Wu Ming added another item on the pack. She joked she still remembered to leave him a lighter. Old Su told him to bring the whole pack and share with brothers below. If short, just send a dream and head buy more. Wu Ming wondered why Uncle King was so stingy. Liu Bei confirmed it. Everyone knew he was always frugal when visiting his grave. The remark made him pause, looking around the graves. His voice echoed low among the stone markers. They were teammates who fell over the years in Jinghua. Their smiles still in Liu Bei's memory. One day more graves might be added here. No one knew who would come burn incense for them then. Liu Bei turned, telling everyone to leave. Wu Ming suddenly called, asking to join the Ci Ren. Liu Bei was surprised, saying no need since old Su didn't die just for him. But Wu Ming softly said that wasn't the reason. He understood in chaotic times, being a civilian was harder forced to remember the dead forever. His words stunned Liu Bei slightly. He extended his hand without hesitation. He calmly accepted him into the Ci Ren. Wu Ming smiled lightly and grasped his hand. Then he was taken to the organization's headquarters. He looked up at the structure, still confused. Being stared at made him awkwardly ask what was happening. Ning Ning laughed, teasing if he had a lover yet. Wu Ming choked, unsure how to answer. Bai Wei tried to stop her friend, asking what she was plotting. She pulled Ai Shui to sit beside Wu Ming. Si Shui had no idea but obeyed. Ning Ning watched their awkwardness with delight. She claimed the two were strangely compatible. Nancheng tapped her head, saying matchmaking only caused trouble. She pouted, saying pairing the captain with her would be a disaster. Liu Bei, afraid of being dragged in, changed the topic, saying he'd take Xiao Yi for a walk. He said he had submitted Wu Ming's file to superiors. Ning Ning cheerfully dragged him to tour the 30 square meters villa, making him embarrassed. Si Shui sighed, still having to wait there. After they left, Nancheng asked if the superiors would really approve. Liu Bei handed his phone, telling him to see. The decision said the application to join Team 144 was denied, but temporary member status granted. Nancheng froze, realizing superiors already had plans. Liu Bei rested his chin, thinking silently. Nancheng patted him, saying everyone had their own path. He reminded him to finish the task at hand. Ning Ning introduced a small room visible in one glance. She opened the fridge, asking what he wanted to drink. Wu Ming smiled and said anything was fine. She grabbed a drink, saying he could take anything and ask Mom to cook if hungry. She handed the can and said Nancheng was like an old mother watching over everyone. That's why she called him Ma Zio. Ning Ning suddenly recalled rookies must train for a year. Wu Ming paid attention. She said the organization was strict, requiring spirit domain study and many skills. Ning Ning dropped onto the sofa drinking water. She added it included melee, firearms, tactics, and barrier deployment. This semi-military training would start in half a month. Its purpose was giving hot-headed youths time to rethink. Her words gave Wu Ming chills. Her face darkened, saying many talk big but fled from monsters. He insisted he had faced them before and wasn't afraid. Cheering her up, she added newcomers had no rooms, but might undergo the captain's private course. That made Wu Ming curious about the training. Right then Liu Bei entered. Sang had explained first. He said reserves all knew how to fight. Charging like Wu Ming meant instant death. Nancheng laughed it off, saying at worst it'd break a few bones. That tone only made him more nervous. Bai Wei stepped in. She scolded them for bullying a rookie. She explained spirit domains appeared in several groups of people. The first group was soldiers in the Mist region due to long exposure. The second was those near death often, like doctors or mortuary staff. The third was people with hereditary abilities, except Group 2. They all had strong foundations. Group 3 trained from childhood. People like him with no background would be crushed by them. A few words made Wu Ming imagine himself beaten to pieces. He frantically shook his head to dispel the horror. He pointed at himself, asking if he was Group 2. Nancheng cut in saying no, he was Group. Bai Wei told him to stop. He forced a smile and shut up. Their attitude made Wu Min ask what was wrong. Liu Bei simply waved it off, saying nothing. Bai Wei patted his shoulder, saying they were mysterious. Investigation showed he triggered a god domain by getting struck at a key point. This was the fourth group, those awakening in bizarre, unknown ways. She said she also belonged to this group. Then she lifted her shirt slightly, revealing a red scar. She said a fish bite gave her a god domain. The mark shocked Wu Ming. He asked what fish that was. Bai Wei hesitated, saying, ink squid. The answer left him frozen. Someone nearby failed to hold their laughter. They burst out because squid sounded too weird. Wu Ming frowned, asking what was so funny. Nanqing covered for them, saying she laughed easily. He reminded the rookie he couldn't return home casually after joining. That startled him. He asked where he would stay. A gentle hand rested on his shoulder. Bai Wei smiled, inviting him to stay at her place for convenience and safety. He agreed immediately, thanking her. She told him not to be formal. No one noticed Nanqing bowing. Blaming himself, Liu Bei patted his shoulder, scolding him for nearly slipping up. Nanqing, flustered, said he forgot, then asked whether they would tell Xiaoyi about her parents. Liu Bei sighed in thought. He decided to wait until the boy grew strong, giving him carefree years. Bai Wei then brought Wu Ming and Ning Ning to her home. She used facial recognition to open the main gate. She introduced it as her house. He was stunned by the sight. A massive garden villa shone magnificently. Ning Ning chuckled, saying the rich big sis was easygoing. Bai Wei modestly said the garden was messy for neglect. Wu Ming waved it off, grateful to stay, then asked if her parents minded. Hearing that, Bai Wei froze. She sadly said they had long gone missing, but she stayed composed, taking a deep breath. She said they left her on a boat to dive into the deep sea for something. They vanished, and she was nearly eaten by a fish, but that incident made her a spirit contractor. Touching that pain made him panic and apologize. Bai Wei smiled, saying it was in the past. She led them into the house. Opening the door, she said she was fine now. That night of the sea, Rennie Chiu, a figure appeared on the big screen. Zhao Wu, the current chief. She said she read the report. Liu Bei went straight to the issue. He asked why a red-eyed spirit wraith was in Jingho. Was it Kun? Zhou Wu assured Kunyi was safe. The dense appearances came from Jinghu's instability. Nanqing reported Tima got no danger alert. Zhou Wu greeted him. He replied politely. She nodded in approval of the group. She said the situation was unstable but not collapsing. Nanqing seriously asked if stabilizing the source would hold. She pointed to Liu Bei, saying to ask him. Liu Bei said grimly no anomalies were seen. She asked if he was sure. He explained he observed days after destroying the red eyes. Except a few strays, no large clusters formed. But there was something odd. Liu Bei recalled the spirit wraith trembling. Zhou Wu frowned at that point. He added the monsters seemed afraid. Nanqing tapped his chin, saying only strong beings or gods could frighten them. Liu Bei looked up asking if a deity appeared. Zhou Wu denied it. No gods in Jinghua. Only high-class threats. She opened recent data to check. Images appeared. She said it might be more complex. Another creature type was found. Liu Bei was shocked, naming in a type form. Zhou Wu said no, but it matched mythical yokai, possibly Lamia. Liu Bei and Nanqing exchanged knowing looks. She read the analyzed info. Lamia, half-human, half-serpent demon of Greek myth, eater of children. He worried if that meant they appeared here too. Zhou Wu confirmed it might be the actual Lamia. Reports matched. Liu Bei's face darkened, asking if there were many. She smiled, raising a finger. More than one. Liu Bei speculated the creature had ravaged multiple cities. Zhou Wu rested her chin, confirming it was true despite disbelief. Nanqing asked why they couldn't catch even one. She sighed that Lamia had countless clones. They only caught clones. The true body was likely hiding in Jinghua. He joked the place attracted bizarre bad luck. Zhou Wu ignored it, said that was all, and disconnected. The screen darkened, leaving the room silent. Nanqing stood, saying he'd leave if nothing else. Liu Bei was fumbling to close the interface. Suddenly he froze strangely. Nanqing turned back and asked what happened. He forced a smile, saying they forgot to ask the appearance location. They instantly realized their foolish oversight. Night fell as Wu Ming arrived at the hospital. He sighted Gao lying motionless. Tu bowed, saying the director didn't need to bring him, but Wu Ming laughed, saying he couldn't abandon him. He joked that if tricked again he'd use him as bait for Gao. The man hugged his knees, whining the director had grown cruel after days apart. Wu Ming leaned in, saying if not cruel had be killed by the two brothers. No, Tu acted pitiful, saying they'd never harm the director. But Wu Ming didn't believe that act. The man excitedly wrote a new line in his notebook. Wu Ming frowned, asking what he was doing. No, Tu panicked. Suddenly he cried out in fear of something behind. Gao had awakened and lunged at Wu Ming. He panicked, barely raising his arms, cursing inside. But feeling no pain, he opened his eyes, confused by the silence. Then he was shocked by the sight. Gao was pinned by countless arms. Even so, he screamed wildly to kill everything. Wu Ming gaped, asking what was happening. No, Tu explained it was a defense system made for him. He said simply, the director was the master of Kaoshen Hospital. In this place no one could touch him. Wu Ming doubted it since he never saw this mechanism before. Remembering when Gao nearly crushed him, he grew more confused. He asked why the system didn't activate then realized they had tricked him again. No, Tu laughed awkwardly, saying without the director they got clumsy. Wu Ming snapped, saying they would kill him sooner or later. Wu Ming turned to look at the woman. He pulled out the book to check treatment for memory loss and violence. The divine book flipped pages on its own. He scanned therapy examples quickly. Wu Ming strained his eyes to find the right section. After a while he spotted a clue, then groaned because the therapy required acupuncture. No, Tu reminded him needles were provided in the book, but he suspected another familiar prank. The man weakly laughed, saying more jokes would cost him his salary. They were just bureaucrat spirits. Wu Ming frowned and used the book as instructed. He was surprised the book created medical tools. The man confirmed it. The Flame Emperor manual generated single-use treatment items. He nodded, mockingly calling the two brothers not very smart. He approached the restrained woman, then performed the compression needle technique. The needle shot into her forehead. The fury on her face instantly froze. Her expression softened and she collapsed. 10 minutes later, the needle dissolved as described. He checked curiously if it worked, but her lingering frenzy made him think it failed. Before he could complain, the system showed 3% progress and unlocked a section. Wu Ming asked No. 2 if things were fine now. He said theoretically there was no obstacle. Wu Ming waved it off since his theories were always wrong. After he left, No. 2 sighed that data was still lacking. The system files were only small samples, incomplete. He returned to the hospital library. Drawing the book, he hoped for no trouble. He slowly checked each page, but his face grew heavier. He was shocked to see entries on dark fertility and chaotic powers. He had unlocked that section. He looked at No. 2 sipping tea. The moment they met eyes, No. 2 spat tea on him. Drenched, he was furious. No. 2 frantically wiped and apologized. Wu Ming tried to hit him but missed, only grinding his teeth. He silently added a new grudge. He glared coldly, thinking the man did it on purpose. No. 2 hurried to swear absolute loyalty. Wu Ming tossed the towel, asking how to use the book. No. 2 said its catalog was extracted skills needing luck to obtain. Wu Ming asked if it was like a lottery. He replied similar, more like a draw machine. No. 2 checked the time, then took the notebook Wu Ming retrieved. It glowed and floated. In a flash, it became a prize draw machine. He asked if the director was ready. Wu Ming snapped to stop babbling and start. He adjusted his gloves and signaled the ritual. No. 2 grabbed the lever. The screen spun rapidly. The first number was 1. The second was also 1. He clenched his hands, praying it wasn't a fertility skill. Luckily, the last slot was 4, unlocking a new skill. The machine reverted to book form. No. 2 opened page 114 for him. The entry described a creation domain that built objects within its area. Wu Ming found it odd since it dealt no damage. No. 2 argued hospital-made tools were always useful. Next morning at Wu Ming's apartment, early knocking echoed at the door. Manhwa opened it, seeing a stranger and asking his identity. The polite man asked if she was Deep Wu Ming's aunt. She frowned and confirmed. Asking who he was, he said he was from Jing Hua's military admin office regarding Deep Wu Ming. Manhwa panicked, asking if he was in trouble. He assured they only handled enlistment, then handed her a letter from him. She hurried to read it. Manhwa froze, not understanding why he enlisted suddenly. She protested he just recovered and was a doctor. Why join the army without saying anything? A hand rested on her shoulder. Le Jin said the boy once mentioned enlisting when healthy. She was confused, not remembering. He smiled, saying youths had many things they hadn't told their mothers. Hearing that, Manhwa softened, sighing over her nephew. Nanqing now also notices Le Jin, a young face but with an aged gaze. He slightly frowns, suspicious of the boy. She hands over an envelope, saying it's Wu Ming's enlistment subsidy. Manhwa worries about the large sum. She's told it's due to a special unit. She startles and asks if it's dangerous. She keeps pressing about the stationing location and contact. Nanqing hurriedly reassures her and asks her to let go. They finally escape the apartment. He holds his head, saying it's more tiring than a mission. They quickly get back into the car. Inside, Wu Ming asks the deputy about the result. Nanqing says the letter and money were delivered. He exhales in relief, has reminded it's his full year salary. Wu Ming says saving is fine. She shyly says she'll cook extra for him. He turns back in surprise. She shoots a warning glance that he must repay later. He laughs and agrees. Then they drive out of the neighborhood. They don't notice Li Jin watching from above. He smiles, saying the gears are turning. Then Wu Ming's training session begins. Ningning teaches that shooting's most important part is her eyes turn slightly manic. Acting on instinct, she performs a wild, body-shaking spray fire display, leaving Wu Ming stunned and terrified. Ning is thrilled for not missing any target. He has to run, dodging the relentless bullet rain. He shouts because Shi's firing in his direction. 2 others stand observing. Nanqing sighs that Wu Ming has stepped into Hell's Gate. Liu Bei says it's his choice, truly blessed by heaven. Rewind 10 minutes earlier, he had spoken to Wu Ming. Liu Bei said the big issue is there's only one trainee. While there are too many instructors, he snaps his fingers, saying to be fair. They place a drawing box before him. He stammers, sensing bad luck. Liu Bei reassures him to draw freely. He surely won't be unlucky. That only makes Wu Ming suspect a toxic prize. He keeps a straight face, saying it's just a special teaching method. He then recalls Ning's crazy shooting style, but Wu Ming can't refuse and draws. The whole room stares, all curious about the name on the slip. He innocently shows it. Qi Ning. Liu Bei pats his shoulder in sympathy for his doomed fate. Nanqing turns to the window, lamenting for him. Bai Wei shakes her head, saying destiny is chosen. She folds her arms, wishing him survival first. Her attitude scares him. He asks why survival. Suddenly a hand rests on his shoulder. Ningning smiles, saying they're just joking. Now Wu Ming struggles to dodge bullets like being hunted. Bai Wei frowns, asking when he'll remember he has a second divine domain. Liu Bei laughs, saying his 2 shells shocked to recall. But Nanqing points out maybe not. Right then, the chair before him is blasted apart. Wu Ming tosses it and faces 3 incoming bullet streams. He instantly activates the Dawn skill. Golden Kai spreads out like a shield. The 3 bullets touch it and are fully absorbed. Bai Wei raises a brow, surprised he can use Mike Kern's Dawn. Liu Bei muses that higher talent means higher danger. Before he goes to training, he must be well protected. She confidently says she understands. Outside, Wu Ming still uses his power smoothly. A week later, a table and 2 glass bottles sit on the field. Suddenly, a bullet shatters 1 bottle. The shot came from a nearby high floor. Someone stands on the rooftop. He keeps his aiming stance and asks the result. Sai Shui steps up to the table. She calmly says he just shot an innocent civilian. Wu Ming scratches his head in shame, promising to aim right next time. Sai Shui reminds him passers-by don't have a next time. Liu Bei sighs beside them. Nanqing brings files and asks if he's tired. Liu Bei says 1 week aged him several years. Nanqing hands over documents, saying there's something worse. It's an urgent report submitted up. Liu Bei's face darkens at the casualty numbers. Nanqing sums up 23 dead, 6 missing in 1 week, and the cause is basically confirmed. He stresses the monster responsible is Lamaya. Liu Bei clenches the papers, ordering everyone gathered. The C-Tai department members assemble in the lounge. Liu Bei reports Jingho Kindergarten had a series of child deaths and disappearances. They suspect Lamia is hiding in the school. Recalling the team is to prepare for infiltration. Bai Wei suggests prioritizing evacuating the children, but the barrier only allows entry, not exit. Ning Ning angrily wants to blow up the whole school. Wu Ming still fears her overly direct thinking. Nanqing knocks her head, telling her not to spout nonsense. Liu Bei claps to focus, saying the plan to capture Lamaya alive needs infiltration. He frowns since entering isn't easy. Ning Ning laughs, saying just walk in through the front gate, and intends to shoot everything on the way again. Nanqing knocks her head again. She clutches her head. Whining Shell becomes stupid. He snorts, saying she wasn't bright to begin with. Bai Wei nods in agreement. Ning Ning soaks and blames Wei. Wu Ming only watches the chaotic scene silently. He feels despair because no one in the team seems reliable. Everyone looks to Liu Bei. He exhales a faint layer of white mist, then activates a skill on the whole team. Mist fills the room. The whole room freezes as if time stopped. Liu Bei looks at them leisurely. He sighs, satisfied with the silence. He states the plan: disguise as teachers, cooks, and kindergarten doctors to infiltrate. He snaps his fingers lightly. The mist gradually dissipates. Time starts flowing again. Everyone looks around in confusion. Wu Ming panics, asking if the captain used a spirit domain. Nanqing nods, explaining spirit domains and divine domains are special powers. What the captain used and Wu Ming's Dawn both belong to the spirit sigil group. Those with a spirit domain usually have 4 spirit sigils. Those with a divine domain will have 5, and the extra skill is called a divine endowment. The new knowledge overwhelms Wu Ming. Bai Wei explains a divine endowment is a skill borrowed from the deity one has contracted with. As she uses Hang Xing, a divine image appears when cast. She turns to assess Wu Ming, saying he's a bit strange. He waves his hands, asking what's wrong with him. Bai Wei frowns. His holy sword and Dawn belong to Mei Sen, yet no divine image appears. If it's not a divine endowment, why can he use a god's power? Nanqing seems awakened by that detail. He laughs it off, saying maybe it's high-grade fake goods. He shifts topics, decide who becomes the cook first. The 2 glance at Nanqing, obviously him. Nanqing freezes, not knowing why he's chosen. That morning, the team stands at the school gate. The Sai-Tai group is fully present. Ning Ning is displeased about being a kindergarten teacher. She soaks at the 2 who don't need disguises. Nanqing calmly says teachers must know how to smile. Si Shui laughs at Ning Ning's cute outfit. She sighs, resigned, fearing nightmares. Nanqing steadies himself before the chaotic lineup. He signals the group to move in. From behind, Sai suddenly says there's a bad omen. Liu Bei raises a brow, asking if they'll face trouble. She glances over, saying they'll be fine, but he won't. That line chills Liu Bei. He worries because Shi Shui's omens are always right if that group causes trouble. His doomed. In the principal's office, he reviews 4 personnel files. He calls the names Bai and Jiang. The 2 respond with polite greetings. He looks at Nanqing and immediately concludes, the cook. He forces a smile and confirms. The principal looks to the last person, a serious young man in a suit, Dr. Xai Wu Ming. He invites them to tour the school. The principal supports his back as he walks out. The yard is full of children's playful noise. Laughter echoes everywhere. He introduces the small class taught by teacher Zhang. She is bright and cheerful. He points to another area. The first floor is the big class. Through the glass, more lively kids are chatting. Suddenly, a woman presses her face to the glass, making Ning Ning scream in shock. The principal reassures them it's teacher Jiao Liu. She dislikes being watched while teaching. She immediately pulls the curtain closed. Bai Wei frowns, saying that only scares the kids. The principal waves it off, saying she just looks a bit fierce. Ning Ning whispers to Wu Ming that she's the most suspicious. Is about to reply when a child runs into them. The girl sits holding her head in pain. Wu Ming kneels and gently asks if it hurts. But when she looks up, her eyes are blank and soulless. He recoils from the eerie sight. For a moment, the air seems to choke, but the girl instantly smiles normally, saying she's fine, leaving Wu Ming staring after her in doubt. Nanqing approaches and quietly asks if something's wrong. He tensely says the child is covered in death ki. Ningning folds her arms, arguing the girls seem normal. Nanqing explains those who contract Michael like Xiaoxai show death quite clearly. The four silently watch the seemingly harmless children. The repeating laughter makes their skin crawl. The principal calls them to continue the tour. He leads the group deeper into the school. They arrive at the room introduced as the cafeteria. The principal hunches over to open the old painted gate. He uses a key to unlock the rusty lock. Inside are rows of neatly lined tables and chairs. He turns and invites Nanqing, the cook, to enter first. Nanqing walks in as instructed. When the others try to follow, they're blocked. The principal slams the door shut and locks it from outside. Nanqing is stunned by the strange situation. He turns on his phone flashlight to find a switch, but the moment he touches it, he senses something wrong. Still, he flips on the room light. The light reveals blood everywhere. He looks at the red stains on his gloves in disbelief. Realizing it slowly, he chokes out, "Blood! That much blood, how many lives were lost?" He follows the blood trail and opens the storage room door. A massive koken appears before him. Elsewhere, the principal brings them to the female teacher's office, then points to the opposite door, the infirmary. He tells them to get familiar while he leaves first. The three give awkward smiles as they see him off. They watch until he disappears. Bai Wei remarks the school is far too abnormal. Ningning agrees, especially the kids downstairs. Xiaoxai says they're filled with death kai. Ma Zhou said the same. Bai Wei sighs and opens the office door. Inside, two people are working. Identical twins greet them with stiff smiles. Bai Wei responds in a friendly tone, then closes the door and whispers they look like living dolls. Wu Ming curiously looks into his own office. The desk is completely empty. No one there. The two girls gather to discuss strategy. Ningning runs to the balcony wondering how the deputy is doing. Bai Wei thinks is safer being alone. Wu Ming asks in surprise why that is. She explains the deputy normally manages the school's spirit anomalies. She left the room because Ningning went crazy and hit teammates. And the deputy got it all. He concedes, guessing the deputy's strength must be terrifying. Bai Wei nods sympathetically, confirming his very outside. She has dropped one floor and calls them to look. She signals toward the lawn. Wu Ming is stunned by a strange sigil circle on the ground. Ningning scowls, saying the kids randomly drew with sticks. Suddenly Bai Wei exclaims as if realizing something. He turns and asks what it is. Bai Wei recalls and says it's an ancient Greek magic array. Ningning climbs up asking what it means. She regretfully says she only saw it during divine contract rituals. Wu Ming suggests meeting the two teachers in the office. Unexpectedly, Bai Wei's face turns bright red. He scratches his cheek, calling to her. Confused, Bai Wei drags Ningning away, saying they'll check immediately. Wu Ming watches them leave the room. She turns back teasing him not to disappoint her. Wu Ming nods seriously, telling her not to worry. The two girls close the door and leave. He collapses onto the chair, exhausted. His consciousness sinks back into the hospital world. Number 1 bows to the principal. He asks about the Greek array. The principal says there isn't one, but books related exist. He hurriedly asks where the books are. The principal points to the office. Number 10. He frowns because he already tried but couldn't read them. The principal says low compatibility is the reason, making him ask how to improve it. Number 1 explains he must reach 5% treatment of the first patient to unlock the library. Wu Ming grows upset, scolding himself for the oversight. The principal looks puzzled at his reaction. He coldly says the reply was too mechanical, frightening Number 1. Number 1's expression only irritates Wu Ming more. He can't be bothered to argue and walks off. Suddenly he changes his mind. He must check the treatment method first. He summons the Yan Emperor book for reference. After reading, he learns medicine must be combined. Just like treating humans, he opens the medicine vault and is shocked by the quantity. The system prompts him to enter the medicine code. He matches the herb name and inputs it. The needed item is at medicine slot 23. Something shoots toward him. Wu Ming panics and blurts a soft curse. He quickly reaches out to catch the incoming object. Up close, he sees it's a medicine box. He exhales, relieved he didn't cause a disaster in the vault. Satisfied, he carries the vial away. Wu Ming stands before Gail's door, taking a deep breath. Inside, the woman leans by the window. She turns at the sound and greets him gently. He smiles and asks about her condition. She unexpectedly opens her arms, calling him warmly. Wu Ming senses something odd. She curiously asks if he needs something. He remembers pretending to be Gail's child once. He awkwardly meets her gaze. As she still remembers it, he has no choice but to step closer. He kneels, hugs her legs, and calls her mother in embarrassment. Gail strokes his hair, lemoning his grown thinner. He uses the moment to look up and ask for her help. She kindly tells him to speak his wish. He nervously asks if she'll take the medicine. The air freezes instantly at his words. Then a terrifying force blasts him away. His back slams into the corridor wall. He panics because the protection system didn't activate. Gail approaches, angrily calling him insolent. She insists she isn't sick and accuses him of plotting harm. She moves to kill him. As her hand nears him, another force stops her. Many arms emerge to restrain her in place. Gail still screams wildly, wanting to destroy everything. He trembles, having narrowly escaped death. Wu Ming gets up and retrieves the items scattered. He sighs that there's no choice but to force the medicine. He places the single pill on his palm, then approaches her to draw her attention. Gale roars instinctively, opening her mouth. He seizes the moment and stuffs the pill in. She can't resist and swallows it immediately. Her eyes gradually regain clarity. She collapses under the restraint of the arms. He dusts off his hands proudly. Job done. The system reports Gale's treatment progress has reached 5%. The hospital unlocks the director's library. Seeing her collapse, he rushes to support her. He gently brushes her with a hint of pity. He whispers sympathy for this pitiful deity. Then he enters the library. Light shimmering across the shelves. Has amazed the books here feel alive. A black-clad figure flashes past him. Number 1 appears, explaining these are the book's true forms. He wonders how to find what he needs among them. Number 1 bumps into him and says just visualize the content. He closes his eyes, recalling the detail he wants. A book immediately flies off the shelf. He quickly catches it. The cover describes a ritual using children as sacrifices to rewind time. His gaze turns cold with killing intent. Number 1 nervously asks if he's alright. He steadies himself, saying he's fine. Then his body vanishes from the hospital. When he wakes, he hears someone calling him. He startles and turns in surprise. Bai Wei stands nearby without him noticing when she came. She comforts him that everyone has secrets. She won't ask. He gives a faint smile and thanks her. Bai Wei immediately asks about the array downstairs. He explains it's a time reversal ritual using children as conduits. She grows serious. Wondering why Jingho was chosen, she calls the boss in the hidden space. Tiny Blue Eye appears, saying the barrier compressed him. He says he heard everything and will report to the higher-ups. Everyone answers in unison, ready to break the array. The spatial tier closes completely. Outside the school, Liu Bei waits for the car. He mutters the phrase time recollection repeatedly. He sighs, hoping it's all coincidence. The driver asks if action support is needed. He raises a hand, telling him not to rush. His remaining eye glows to scout the situation. In the cafeteria, Nanqing observes the strange cocoon. He slices it with a knife to check inside. A tentacle pokes out, wriggling. Nanqing grimaces at the disgust. He cuts harder to tear the cocoon open. A half-human, half-snake creature drops out. It lies motionless as if exhausted. Nanqing freezes at the grotesque form. He runs to grab a broom. He pokes it lightly to see if it's alive. The creature's face turns pale. Its snake tongue flicks out in response. It slithers up the broom toward him, growling. It threatens Nanqing aggressively. A squeeze bends the broom handle. It lunges at him with sharp fangs. Nanqing reacts instantly and attacks. A living spine coils out to bind the creature. It's locked securely inside a bone cage. He seals it for now, pondering if its form resembles a human. Even imprisoned, it thrashes uncontrollably in madness. He ignores it and inspects the area instead. The storage is full of cocoons holding monsters enough to wipe out Jinghu entirely. At that moment, knocking sounds at the door. He approaches the metal door cautiously. It opens too easily, unlike before, making him suspicious. Outside stand Wu Ming and Bai Wei. She signals for him to report. He points toward the lawn, mentioning their discovery. Nanqing frowns and asks. They answer it's a time reversal array. He turns pale at the revelation. Bai Wei immediately asks if he knows anything more. He hesitates, saying he can't confirm yet. She grows more anxious, asking what he means. He asks Aksai back whether he feels unwell. He says he only senses heavy aura here. He exhales in relief at that. Then he walks back into the room. He just smiles, making a calm yet pessimistic remark. The two behind him fall speechless. Nanqing waves them closer. He uses his skill to summon the stored creature. The bone cage flies over containing the monster. He asks curiously if this is Maya. He says no, Mia is a half-human, half-snake demoness. This is merely a child-headed snake aberration. Bai Wei, annoyed, says they should just kill it. She raises her hand to cast her spirit domain. Nanqing stops her immediately, fearing the victim might be a real child. She freezes, thinking of the missing children. He nods. The number of cocoons exceeds reported disappearances. This makes Wu Ming recall the lawn array. He guesses the number outside may be the true count. While the kitchen holds the original children, he remembers the childlike abomination he saw. He thinks of the child sacrifice ritual. Unsure which side are victims, horror rises as the clues piece together. Bai Wei steps forward, deciding to seal the whole zone. Ice walls instantly form, enclosing the kitchen. Nanqing throws the creature into the frozen zone, agreeing to freeze them to stop emerging. They watch the room fill with chilling frost. Rows of cocoons freeze solid within the ice. The three go to the lawn and rake the grass. Bai Wei fumes they've been raking for 10 minutes. Every time they erase the array, it reappears. She slams the broom on the ground in anger, then sighs helplessly at the futile effort. Wu Ming complains whether their division has no higher-level array removal skills. Bai Wei awkwardly says their squad only uses brute force methods. Nanqing cuts it, telling him not to believe her. He says there is a method, but he hasn't gotten approval yet. Bai Wei snaps back bitterly. Wu Ming gets an idea if they can't erase it. Break the strokes. He picks up a nearby rake. Nanqing shrugs, saying go ahead. He carves hard into the ground where the sigils lie, creating deep broken grooves. Nanqing frowns, watching closely. Bai Wei runs over, excitedly asking if it worked, but soon the marks regenerate on their own. She fumes can't erase. Can't add either. He sighs, unsure how to destroy it. At that moment, someone walks up asking what they're doing. It's Ning Ning, casually eating an apple. Bai Wei grumbles, explaining they're trying to erase the array. Ning Ning munches while observing the sigils. She suggests digging the soil up, after saying that she tries using her power, but a protective force blocks her mop. Ning Ning is shocked the array has a safeguard. She gives up, continuing to chew her apple. Nanqing asks where she got the apple. She points at a building, saying a teacher gave it. Wu Ming warns her how could she eat something suspicious. Ning Ning shrugs, saying if she didn't see anything, there's nothing to fear. She jokes that if she eats a worm, that's just extra protein. He can only sigh helplessly at that logic. He meets her and mocks that she's not afraid of poison. She stays confident and carefree. She shakes the apple, saying if it's poisoned, it's just bad luck. She says since a child drew the formation, maybe only a child can break it. Her words make the whole group stare at her. She panics, asking if she said something wrong. Nanqing pats her shoulder, saying she's gotten smarter lately. The half-hearted praise makes everyone laugh. She stomps angrily for being treated as brainless. Wu Ming volunteers to find a child to try, and indeed, he finds a kid drawing strange symbols. He calls little one, not noticing its empty expression. The child spins its head several times, then stares back. Wu Ming panics before he can react. It morphs into a monster with long limbs. He turns pale as it grabs him, quickly escaping. Bai Wei asks worriedly if they should jump in. Nanqing laughs, saying he's grown and can handle it. Aura erupts around Wu Ming. He charges into attack without hesitation. His strike sends the monster flying far away. Nanqing raises a brow in praise. Ning Ning nods, comparing to herself. Bai Wei still looks unsatisfied. The creature lies motionless on the ground. A silence blankets the grass field. Dust suddenly billows up thickly. Its head turns into a snake mouth snapping at Wu Ming. The snake head threatens as if to swallow him. Nanqing notes its form resembles the one in the kitchen, but something unusual still makes Bai Wei question it. He says the snake seems unfinished. He feels the creature in the kitchen is even more dangerous. The snake lunges again to bite him. He instantly summons his sword. As it closes in, he swings the sword and cuts the snake apart. The creature is split into two. He lands lightly after finishing it. He exhales, about to return to the group, but all three look tense. He asks in confusion what happened. Nanqing trembles while pointing behind him. Then he sees a whole herd of children appear. He freezes, a chill running down his back. Before he can run, they all turn their heads toward him. They stare as if waiting for him to move so they can attack. The children stand eerily still. He laments, not understanding what's happening. He wants to ask the team what to do, but all three have already run away. Leaving him, they even give a thumbs up, cheering that he can do it. Wu Ming nearly loses composure from being abandoned. A sound behind him startles him. Turning back, he sees the children have closed in. He grits his teeth. Unsure if they're ghosts or snakes in disguise, he raises his sword, unsure whether to strike. He turns to ask the others, but they only gesture repeatedly in warning. A chill hits him as he senses something right behind. Snake heads twist close to his back. He swings his sword, flinging them away. Bai Wei frowns that these kids aren't normal. Nanqing agrees since they appeared the moment he turned. Ning Ning keeps eating her apple, watching the chaos like a red light green light game. She asks what would happen if Xiao Dai didn't turn her head. She laughs, suggesting letting Xiao Dai try to know instantly. She is immediately flicked on the head for that reckless idea. Nanqing scolds her, glad she only said it and didn't do it. Ning Ning shrugs, saying fate is fate. He warns that trusting fate too much will get her killed. She smiles casually, saying probably true. Bai Wei overhears and asks, but isn't sure what she heard. Ning Ning promptly denies it, saying she misheard. Nanqing calls the group to focus and stop rambling. The two ask curiously what he wants to remind them of. He points to Wu Ming fighting, then questions why Amai is still silent despite the noise. In a silent classroom, behind frosted glass covering the window, a clawed, sharp hand scratches hard against the wall. Amai grows from the unpleasant smell. Its huge snake tail lashes violently. The strike makes the room shake fiercely. It vents its rage on the wall nonstop. Its snake tongue flicks, bloodthirsty and resentful. Its target is Wu Ming out in the yard. While fighting, he suddenly feels watched. He looks toward the building in suspicion, but then assumes it's his imagination. Nanqing keeps observing Wu Ming. Bai Wei walks over, asking what is watching. He says someone is watching Xiao Dai and asks her to check. She activates her spirit domain to scan the area, then heads toward the suspicious building. Following the sensation, she stands before a classroom. The principal suddenly appears, greeting her with his strange demeanor. He asks why she's here. She smiles, saying she was just passing by, then tries to open the door to see inside. He instantly stops her hand. She asks suspiciously what he's trying to do. He adjusts his glasses, saying the room is haunted and she shouldn't enter, but she smiles brightly, saying the more ghosts the better. She removes his hand without hesitation. She opens the door and walks in. The principal tries to stop her but fails. The room is full of debris and scattered papers. No one is inside. It's empty. He hunches and sighs helplessly. She sternly says the place looks more like it's used to confine someone than haunted. He replies coldly that it's all in the past. She urges the principal to recount the old story. He avoids it, saying the past isn't worth mentioning. He asks her to leave immediately. She has no choice but to follow. She glances back at the room once more. While closing the door, she secretly tosses an ice shard inside. She intentionally leaves that item in the strange room. The principal urges her to hurry and follow him. On the way, he tells her to return to the office with him. She asks why he ignores the commotion downstairs. He just gives a thin smile. Saying nothing is happening, she checks the window for the scene below, but she only sees normal children. They keep playing as if nothing happened. The principal confirms everything is peaceful. She stops questioning and assumes she imagined it, but Nan Cheng below is still anxiously waiting for her. Ning Ning asks if they should go down to check. He decides to wait a bit longer. She suddenly realizes something is wrong. She wonders why Xiao Dai has disappeared. The yard is now completely empty. Nan Cheng knocks a monster off himself, but a whole horde stands before him, as annoyed at being left alone in battle. Turning back, he freezes in shock. No one is behind him to support him anymore. The monsters charge before he can think. He shouts angrily as the fight feels endless. He unleashes a strong blow, sending them flying, but his golden domain binds them in place. As surprised by this strange effect, a massive mandala appears beneath him. He recalls the barrier Kingston once used. He realizes he read similar material before. It was Gale's creative ability in the god's records. He suspects this is that very power. He tries summoning a wine cup. An identical object appears in his hand. His thrilled that survival just got easier. But the monsters rush in again to attack. He almost gets hit and curses for spacing out. He demands a cage to block them. They're instantly trapped in the structure. They can only roar angrily inside. He watches and feels slightly pitying. He snaps his fingers to reward himself. A lounge chair appears midair. He leans back comfortably, lamenting his misery. He now understands why the other two sip tea calmly. Watching the show while enjoying drinks is indeed paradise. Meanwhile, the other two are still busy searching for him. Ning Ning runs around in panic, assuming he's dead. He touches the barrier surrounding the area. The thick cold aura darkens the sky. She waits and anxiously asks the result. He says Bai Wei's presence has completely vanished too. Ning Ning inhales deeply to brace herself. She shouts that her brother has disappeared. Space tears open like a familiar crack. Lu Bei steps out, saying they're still in the daycare but shifted in layers. Nanqing guesses the spaces are stacked over each other. Lu Bai says Bai Wei discovered something he doesn't know. He deduces the formation remains and teammates keep vanishing. Ning Ning laughs bitterly that misfortune is piling up. She is immediately glared at him, warning. She shrugs, saying she's just being honest. Lu Bei concludes they must find the gaps between space layers to save the two. He tells them to stay safe. Bai Wei waits for the principal to leave, then tries to escape the room. She tries the door, but it's locked solid. She bangs on it hard in frustration. She curses under her breath for being locked in from outside. She turns to face her opponents defiantly. She coldly asks what they'll do if she runs. The twin Ma teachers reveal their true malicious forms. They lunge, but she swiftly slips behind them. They scream as if controlled, forbidding her to flee. She calmly turns, preparing to open her domain. The Ma sisters leap from the desk straight at her. She gives a soft warning, saying if words don't work, they must obey. She easily dodges their attacks. In a blink, she vanishes from their sight. The room is instantly filled with freezing cold. She reappears there after a teleport. She breaks the ice layer around her and steps out. She rubs her shoulder, exhaling in relief. Then she scans the entire room. She wonders what frightened the principal so much. She finds deep slashes on the wall, made by razor-sharp claws. Then she suddenly notices something strange inside. A slick piece of skin hidden in a crack makes her shiver. She instantly summons her ice bow without hesitation. An arrow shoots straight into that crack. The wall is actually a veil creating an illusion. She immediately realizes she was deceived by camouflage, but the creature hiding inside leaves her stunned. It is Lamaya clinging to the wall as if fused with it. She calls out loudly, asking if Big Brother can hear her. A flash of a crack shows Lu Bei trying to respond, but the barrier is too thick, and the gap closes. She frowns. Knowing contact is impossible now. She turns and directly questions the creature's presence here. With no reply, she tries reaching out to touch it. A weak, pleading voice begs for help. She asks if the voice belongs to Lamaya or something else. She prepares to strike, refusing to be softened, but the creature desperately screams for her to save it. The ice arrow still hits Lamaya without mercy. Thick white smoke rises from the painful spot. She feels a bit guilty but still refuses to help. Its agonized screams grow even harsher. She irritably tells it to stop yelling, saying she'll call someone to help. Hearing that, the mist around it weakens and fades. She reassures it before leaving, telling it to wait. Then she opens the door to urgently find her team. At the same time, Nan Cheng and Ning Ning enter the building. Ning Ning asks if the missing two are together or in split spaces. He guesses split. She clicks her tongue sadly, thinking they get a good fight here. He reminds her to behave or she'll scare the kids. Reaching the hallway, they see frost spreading everywhere. She folds her arms, shivering, asking why it's so freezing. He silently opens a domain to shield them both. A warm barrier protects them from the cold. His surprise, the power is almost equal to Bai Wei's god domain. She startles, assuming Bai Wei erupted. He denies it, saying the energy matches the cafeteria monster. Suddenly they see Wu Ming standing ahead. They shout his name joyfully. They run over, but he remains still as if he can't hear. She grabs for his arm, unaware of the anomaly. They pass straight through Wu Ming's body. They even hear him wonder what the sensation behind him was. Clearly, he has no awareness they exist. He mutters and walks off through the strange scene. She finally understands. Only they can see him. While he can't, he nods and tells her to follow and see what hell do. They quietly follow Wu Ming down the long hallway. None of them notice Bai Wei appearing right behind. She grumbles because she can't find anyone familiar. Then she suddenly spots the vice captain and Ning Ning. She runs after them, calling for them to wait, but the moment her hand touches Ning Ning's shoulder, she realizes she cannot make contact. Her eyes widen as she sees Shiz phasing through illusions. She walks straight through both of them. Meanwhile, the two discuss finding Bai Wei and believe Shiz safe as long as they follow Xiao Dai. She urges them to hurry because Wu Ming has gone upstairs. She hears them mention Dai Fengming and frowns slightly. At this moment, he is confused because the upper floor is empty. He turns around and looks downward. His gaze stops at the foot of the stairs. He sees Bai Wei walking up toward him. He cheers, relieved to finally meet someone familiar. But she passes straight through him like wind. He panics because he can't touch her. The other two also notice. Xiao Dai can see Bai Wei. She runs around searching, insisting Bai Wei is right there. Bai Wei realizes only Dai Fengming can see her, not the vice captain. Nanqing concludes they can see Xiao Dai. Xiao Dai sees Bai Wei, and Bai Wei may see them, meaning all four are offset in spatial layers, a chance to break the overlaps. Ning Ning eagerly wants to act but is stopped to avoid being crushed by space. Nanqing speaks toward the void, saying the disturbance may be near Bai Wei. She teases him asking if Bai Wei can even hear. He says trying is better than doing nothing. She recalls walking with the principal and suspects that moment caused the issue. She sighs as things grow ever more chaotic. She steps forward and speaks into the empty air, telling everyone to follow her. Wu Ming hears and wonders if the call is for him too, then decides to follow. The three groups in three spatial layers converge before that classroom. He places his hand on the doorknob and senses strange energy. A heavy echo explodes in his mind. It's an anomaly signal triggered by the hospital. The Gate of the Gods reacts to an outside creature. Number 2 raises a brow, guessing the director found the escapee and wondering who the unlucky victim is. The two stand guard at the passage to the Divine Zone. Outside, he suffers a violent, splitting headache. Ning Ning worries and reaches to check what happened to him, but Wu Ming manages to stand again. He watches the white silhouette go deeper inside, and Nanqing's team tracks Wu Ming's every step. Both groups follow the signal into the room. As he cracks the door open, freezing air overwhelms him. Wu Ming summons domain force to shield himself. The place is about to freeze. He spots Bai Wei pressed into a corner, acting strangely as if manipulating space. At that moment, she raises her hand to attack. Wu Ming reacts at once, tearing apart the barrier ahead. The woman's figure appears, stunning him. Ning Ning is shocked too, because Maya is trapped here, so it is the chaos outside. Nanqing tries using his skill to break her confinement, but is immediately blasted back by the force. He realizes why Bai Wei insisted on coming here. The Death Zone aura can only be neutralized by Michael. In another layer, Wu Ming's spirit is pulled from his body. Twisting spatial vortex distorts before him. At that moment, Mai manifests right behind him. Wu Ming jumps back. Startled, she lifts her face weakly, begging for rescue. He has no choice but to reach out. Holy light spreads, pushing away the death aura, but he still demands to know why he must help. She caused chaos in the school, so why save her? Maya panics, insisting she's innocent and never harmed children. Wu Ming remains doubtful since he saw her snake form. She explains those were Snake Clan underlings. Hopelessness fills Maya's pale, wild eyes. Before becoming a monster, she was a teacher loving her students. Playing tag with them, the kids cheered and ran off to hide. She began counting while waiting for them. Back then Maya was full of joy, but a vision of herself turning into a snake flashed in her mind. The image terrified her and she shot upright. She screamed to banish the horrifying figure. A whisper tempted her not to resist, claiming it was her true form. Maya struggled, insisting she wasn't that thing. The voice sneered she was a lustful serpent woman. The words drove her into panic. Seeking escape, she ran back to the principal's office. There, she lost control and transformed fully into a serpent. The mirror's shadow mocked her as a weak, oppressed wretch. Amid endless temptations, she lived twisted and miserable. It tempted her to surrender her body, but Mia refused. The voice roared, calling her worthless and not worth bargaining with. Then it reached out to drag her into the abyss. The malicious hand grabbed her hair hard. It pulled the gentle woman into the mirror, so the evil entity could switch places and step out. It laughed cruelly, calling her a coward unworthy of her role. It said it would arrange a new place for her and show her something fun first. It raised the mirror, forcing her to watch. It showed Maya the courtyard where the children played, then used the principal's face to walk outside. It sweetly called the kids, beginning a chase game. One girl still thought it was her beloved teacher, but the demon revealed its true form and grabbed her. It opened a horrifying mouth full of sharp teeth, then licked the blood with satisfaction, choosing its next target. The real Maya could only scream and cry within the mirror. After finishing her story, she sobs, admitting she doomed the children. Wu Ming decides, even if unsure she's truthful. Hell save her. She asks why it helped despite doubting. He says she's kind and he also needs the strange child intact to escape. At that moment, holy light still cannot sever the final binding. His shock the bind doesn't dissolve. Wu Ming pours in more power, refusing to give up. A surge of holy light blasts open the path ahead. He finally deploys his full spirit domain. When the bind snaps, the space around Maya collapses. Wu Ming staggers, nearly collapsing. Outside, Bai Wei also sees the rupture and is stunned. Nancheng and the two girls panic as they see him fall. They rush over, unaware the space around them is cracking. But before reaching him, they're forced to halt. The entire structure before them is collapsing. She trembles, hoping Xiao Dai still lives. He reassures he won't die so easily. Bai Wei steps out, asking with confident sharpness. Nancheng replies that if he died, then she urges him to finish the important point. He denies it, claiming it was nothing and he misspoke. Bai Wei snaps, accusing him of treating them like fools. A hand emerges, telling them to stop talking nonsense. Ningning panics, realizing they forgot Xiao Dai. The three rush over quickly. Wu Ming gets up, covered in dirt. She teases him, calling him tough. He thanks her. Nancheng questions him. Wu Ming explains that was the true form. The outside one was an evil avatar. Bai Wei is shocked and asks again to confirm. Ningning doubts the truth, worried they freed the wrong one. He says they had no choice. She teases him for being observant. Wu Ming grumbles he learned from hearing them. Nancheng Yu asks where the other one is. He panics because it's still buried below. The group starts digging again. Ningning cries out because someone is trapped in the wall. They suspect it's motionless as if dead. He asks how previous cases make sense if it's kind. She's confused were earlier cases only the beginning. Bai Wei concludes he was deceived. Wu Ming sighs they'll be stuck in loops if they don't free it. They stay alert because this layer is ruined yet nothing appears. The silence around them is unnatural. She volunteers to check. The ice clones disperse to scout. Bai Wei senses no life and fears they're trapped. Nancheng agrees since Lamaya is unconscious. They stand to search for its location in space. The group gathers to plan. Wu Ming suddenly remembers something important. He asks the vice captain if the one who built the formation can break it. He says yes, but at heavy cost. He presses for an example. Nancheng hesitates. He guesses it requires heart, blood, or life force. Wu Ming's smirk sounds perfect for him. He worries Wu Ming will act recklessly. Wu Ming draws his sword and casually cuts his own abdomen for blood. As if routine, Ningning shudders. Nancheng sighs, calling it brutal style. Bai Wei laments that the good kid has been corrupted by him. Wu Ming stabs straight into Lamaya's heart without hesitation. In another space, two figures appear. Lamaya's true form sneers at the shape before her. The principal removes his glasses darkly. Shocked she escaped, his pose transforms instantly. Lamaya asks if the formation was meant to save her. The evil intent mocks that she's worthless now. He only wants everything to return to the old way. She rejects that, saying the formation is hopeless. He roars, calling her useless and insisting only this place holds hope of success. He ordered his accomplices to assist. The two began jointly chanting spells. Light enveloped them both. Wu Ming sensed the formation activating from afar. Space twisted open before them. Nancheng pulled the group back, stopping him from rushing in. He obeyed and stayed still. Ningning whispered they were hiding something. Bai Wei bitterly said she only noticed now. She felt uneasy because their secrets were too strange. He told Xiao Yi to hand over the heart and retreat. Wu Ming asked why. Nancheng explained Michael symbolized miracles. He repeated the concept, pondering, then understood, handed over the heart, and warned them to be careful. Everyone quickly moved away from him. Nancheng realized the true body came because miracle power belonged to Jing Hua. He crushed the heart in his hand. Lamaya screamed in pain on the other side. The evil thought panicked, asking why. She said someone destroyed the heart. He gritted his teeth, demanding the heart's location. She trembled, saying she left her body in another space. The evil thought roared, calling her foolish for leaving the body to humans. But she hurt too much to answer. He clenched his teeth, refusing to let the plan fail. The evil thought approached, intending to lure her. He reminded her they'd prepared too long to accept failure. She trembled, asking what he intended to do. He gave a cruel smile, saying a sacrifice would achieve their goal, then struck, assuring her he wouldn't let her die too miserably. He easily knocked her down, coldly finishing. He told her to rest and die. At the same time, Nancheng crushed the heart. A strong force blasted him away. Wu Ming caught him and called the vice captain. He used holy power to pull him back. Ningning pointed at Lamaya's fading body. Bai Wei said it hadn't worked and the formation burned brighter. He said he wasn't the one who crushed the heart, Lamia did it herself. Wu Ming guessed there was internal conflict on the other side. Nancheng considered it a bad sign. A domain wave engulfed the whole group. Countless hands sprouted from the ground. Ningning drew her knife. Disgusted by the monster, he cut off a hand and said they were being treated as sacrifices. Wu Ming forced himself calm, saying they must stop the formation or die. He shouted for the team to hold on for a few minutes. Bai Wei agreed but urged speed. Near exhaustion, Wu Ming was shielded by ice. Saying he understood, he activated his own domain. Closing his eyes, he pushed his spirit into it. His goal was to return to the hospital for a solution. He reviewed formation manuals, finding no counter except erasure. Failure to find one disappointed him. Number 1 brought coffee, suggesting he ask patient no one. He was surprised since she was unstable and might not help. The man said she had brief lucid moments daily. Based on the pattern, she would be lucid in 3 minutes. He stood with hope, deciding to try. In the room, he saw her standing, gazing out the window. The system reported patient no. When entering a clarity state, asking to wait, seeing a 55% bar, he was shocked like a game pest. He patiently waited for the clarity bar to reach 100%, then asked the goddess for help with the formation. She patted his head, calling him her dear child. He glared at number one because she was still delusional. The man blamed a system error. He snapped that both he and his sister were useless. She suddenly spoke clearly. It was a time reversal formation and asked what he intended. He panicked but explained he needed a way to stop it while it was running. She replied, destroy the soul of the formation's creator. He worried because they were in another space. She laughed, reminding him he carried her power. And for a goddess, nothing was impossible. After speaking, her clarity drained. The system reported the lucid window had ended. She returned to staring at the sky. He immediately returned to reality. Bai Wei saw this and knew he had a lead. He said yes and no. She wondered why. Fighting. He insisted they must find Lamaya first. Ning Ning joked they needed a magic door or they'd die before finding her. Her words inspired him he could make a door himself. He cheered, praising Ning Ning's smarts. She was confused. He planted his sword and activated a skill. A spatial gateway appeared instantly. Ning Ning gaped at the bizarre sight. He confirmed it was a magic door. A gate appeared in the other space too. He rushed in to ambush the evil thought from behind, but realized the gate only allowed one person. Lamenting he had to solo the boss. Nancheng's group couldn't enter. He was stunned. Ning Ning panicked because the gate was single use. Nancheng urged them to focus on crossing space since Xiao Yi was too weak. She frowned, saying space breaking wasn't their specialty. Bai Wei advised trusting Xiao Yi because he still had survival tricks. He felt helpless trusting him too much now left them confused. Nancheng shouted for Lao Liu. Outside the field, Lu Nang anxiously watched him. Lu Bei, missing one eye, still tried to reassure them. He regretted not charging in. Now his eye needed 10 to 15 days to heal. In the end, he only opened his domain to assist. Wu Ming on the other side decided to try a sneak attack. He gripped his sword and dashed in without hesitation, intending to cleave the evil thought in one strike. The blow made her roar. Asking who it was, he cursed himself for such a bad ambush. The snake tail whipped toward him. He dodged, making her miss. Tense and annoyed, he told himself to stay calm. The evil thought realized she had missed. She turned back, determined to deal with the intruder. He could only block with his sword. She transformed into a giant serpent. One bite snapped his sword in half. He froze in disbelief. He twisted his body to react, planning to fly up to evade, but the serpent form overwhelmed him. She lunged, closing in. One bite shattered his wings, clutching his injuries. He fell. He crashed hard, dust rising, nearly unconscious. The Yen Emperor book appeared, reporting the director's body was severely damaged and activating healing. It floated up and opened healing pages. The evil thought noticed his condition. She landed using her serpent tail. Transforming back, she muttered, irritated by the mix of familiarity and hatred from the thing on him, but still greedy to seize that power. Touching the holy light burned her hand. She screamed and pulled back in pain, then grew greedier, claiming the treasure should have been hers. The book finished healing Wu Ming. He sprang up to see her closing in. She almost grabbed him. He dodged and unleashed a skill. Punching straight, a punch slammed into her, but it was useless. She mocked him as weak and foolish. He reeled, having lost all divine domain power. She counterattacked instantly. He blocked but was knocked back. Sent flying far, he could barely keep fighting. Even so, he charged in again. The evil thought struck. He raised a holy shield to block. He remembered, though he lost Dawn, he could still form a domain stronger than an angel's. He immediately summoned the holy sword. She gnashed her teeth in fury. She couldn't believe a human could injure her. Wu Ming surged forward to counterattack. She unleashed a furious strike, cursing him to die. What she hurled was Lamaya's divine soul. He still chose to confront it head-on. The holy shield blocked the barrage, but it quickly shattered. The serpent tail slammed into him. He was flung away, nearly fainting. He gripped the sword tightly, refusing to give up. He stabbed it into the ground to stay upright, wiping blood from his mouth. He muttered his reason was gone. She suddenly ambushed him, mocking his lack of focus. He created a massive fragment. It briefly stopped her attack, but he didn't notice the tail behind him, and was knocked flying again. Seeing his wounds, he knew he could only take 2 more hits. The evil thought screamed in frustration. Why wasn't he dead? She slashed fiercely with her claws. He summoned a heavy armor layer for protection. The barrier kept her out, and he only hoped his seniors arrived in time. Meanwhile, Ning Ning panicked if late. Xiao Yi would end up dead. Bai Wei froze monster hands while fuming. She lamented not wanting her new disciple to die instantly. She pondered as the spatial rift was torn wider. Nancheng tried stabilizing the space. Regretting not swapping positions earlier, Liu Bei poked in, complaining his eye hurt and would be blind for a month. He said whatever had been blind before. Liu Bei ignored the cold remark, urging them to hurry inside. Nancheng shouted for the two to come. Bai Wei rushed over, her, saying she'd go support first. He urged speed as the rift was shrinking. She lipped him without hesitation. He called the last person and told Ning Ning to hold tight, then pushed her into the rift, telling her go fast. Nanqing also stepped into the other space in time. Before the rift closed, he grumbled about his clothes tearing again. Luckily, the group escaped the altar. Wu Ming was still barely holding on. Then the three burst out of the rift. Bai Wei was startled at the sight. In front of them was Lamia's evil thought. She lunged to attack. Bai Wei reacted instantly, freezing her. Ning Ning shuddered. Nanqing stunned. This is Lamia. The evil thought roared with hatred. She shattered the ice instantly. Wu Ming sighed one gate and all his reason evaporated. He didn't notice the tail whipping toward him. He jumped aside, cursing her for cheap shots, but she had lost all reason and charged straight in, only to be stopped by another ice layer. Bai Wei appeared behind him. She's my opponent. She smiled, telling him to rest and leave the rest to them. He left immediately. Time was short. Nanqing said coldly, didn't want to fight, but you look disgusting. He summoned the moon-gazing domain bow, releasing 3 arrows. The strike dealt her heavy damage. The grass shattered, the monster howling. Ning Ning laughed. Wu Ming was shocked, thinking he was a defense type. She replied that was only who he was now. Before, he had been a weapon of destruction. Liu Bei was helped into the car. Sishuo worried. He reassured her it was only blindness. He told her not to worry about him and to go assist. She hesitated, but he waved it off. Blind, not paralyzed. She obeyed. She looked at him one last time in the car, then ran toward hidden kindergarten. In the barrier, Bai Wei was battling her. Nanqing had launched a heavy strike and was internally injured. He wiped blood, admitting he couldn't just attack whenever he wanted. Ning Ning supported him, teasing she thought he could keep fighting. He gave a helpless smile. His body couldn't take it. Wu Ming ran over to check on him. He said it was just an old illness. They helped him to safety. He waved them off to assist Bai Wei. He reminded them Lamia's weak point was the heart, but with an undying soul, she would keep resurrecting. The long revive interval gave the group prep time. He confirmed the soul body's existence kept the formation running and the enemy would be destroyed. Nanqing warned them not to rush, while Wu Ming revealed he had a way to deal with the soul form. A blade suddenly appeared in his hand. He guessed the plan and warned there was only one chance when the soul separated. Wu Ming smiled and stepped toward the battlefield. Ning Ning also charged him beside him. Nanqing stayed behind, exhausted and coughing blood. Approaching the fight, Wu Ming asked Ning Ning for support. He said he had too little strength left and needed to save the final hit for the soul form. Ning Ning told him to wait and not get in the way. She drew her favored weapon, unable to hide her battle excitement as she activated her skill. Powerful glow erupted beside her. She lifted her scythe, complaining about self-harm to open a domain. Seeing Wu Ming stunned, she said no one in Jingho was weak, then charged straight into the fight. She dropped in to help Bai Wei attack. Bai Wei joked she thought she came to spectate. Ning Ning answered with regretful humor. Dodging the tail, she mocked the enemy's weakness, then threatened to cleave her in half, but the wounds healed instantly. She shifted into serpent form and dove to counterattack. A cold ice shield saved her from the pounce. Ning Ning snapped at Bai Wei, saying to let her get digested if needed. As they argued, the demoness roared again, but Ning Ning's domain counterattacked. She entered a stronger state, responding with ease. Bai Wei chanted and fired a power arrow. Their combined strikes dealt heavy damage, hitting the fatal point. She hissed, denying her scales could be shattered by ice. Ning Ning laughed back provocatively. Bai Wei complained that mouth would bring trouble someday. The enemy lost control and lunged. In an instant, she broke the surrounding ice. Ning Ning shouted that it was Xiao Ye's turn. From above, Wu Ming descended like a ray of light. His hand gripped a short blade aimed at the monster woman. The blade pierced straight into her forehead to finish her. She had no time to resist. She screamed in pain, her body paralyzed. A great gate suddenly opened behind her. Wu Ming staggered back, recognizing the familiar shape. Black chains shot out from within. They bound the demoness tightly, dragging her into the gate, leaving him stunned. The sudden pressure knocked Wu Ming down, then the door closed, sealing her inside. The shockwave even struck Bai Wei. Everyone fell silent, watching the gate fade. Ning Ning questioned sharply. Bai Wei said forget it and help him up first. She offered her hand to pull Wu Ming up, but he yanked her down instead, joking the fight was over. The formation around the yard dispersed completely. Wu Ming exhaled in relief but still wondered about the strange door. Nanqing urged them to leave before the barrier vanished. Ignoring Ning Ning's complaints of fatigue, he dragged everyone up, warning staying would bring huge trouble. Ning Ning grumbled that anyone mocking her would get shot. Wu Ming shivered, saying she didn't act like someone experienced. Bai Wei agreed, saying it felt like escaping prison. A spatial exit opened again. She urged them to leave a place where no one remained alive. Wu Ming sighed with regret. The group entered the passage. A week later, at the Xiangyai training grounds, he was chatting idly with a bird. Nanqing saw it and spat out all his tea. He ran over and grabbed Wu Ming's collar. Wu Ming blinked, and he told him to drink water and rest. Wu Ming pointed at the bird, warning it would suffocate if he didn't let go. He paused at those words. Turning back, he saw the bird nearly passing out. He quickly released him and changed the subject, telling him to prep before entering the camp tomorrow. Wu Ming surrendered to that clumsy excuse, but asked no more and walked away. Only then did he sigh in relief. Close call. Liu Bei arrived blindly, as if hiding countless secrets from Wu Ming. Nanqing teased that even blind he could still see. earning the retort that he was just embarrassed. He frowned, saying stop talking nonsense, and asked why Wu Ming wasn't paying attention. Liu Bei hinted that birds have wings and can't be kept caged, so how could he manage him? Nanqing mocked that he was simply clumsy and advised enjoying things while time was short. But Liu Bei said everything was already set, and all they could do was hope the kids created a miracle. Nanqing stood up in frustration, wishing only for their safety. Liu Bei shuffled along, sighing that hope was all they had. The night before departure, Wu Ming lay awake thinking. He was upset about not resting and tried to recall where he saw that door. He closed his eyes, tracing faint memories, then sat up angrily for forgetting again. He tried focusing once more, then entered the space of the All-God Hospital. He arrived to find the familiar door right there. Number 2 appeared, praising him and saying the last time he saw it was in the yard. And its shift happened because it went to the wrong place. Wu Ming sighed. Even the hospital door wasn't reliable. Number 2 asked if he wished to continue. Wu Ming put his hands in his pockets and stepped closer. He said number 2 had forbidden opening it before, and he replied that back then Wu Ming lacked the capability. Wu Ming questioned him, and number 2 explained that after dragging Lamia inside, he could now control the dungeon. Then he opened the door for him. He even gestured inviting the director inside. Wu Ming stepped in as instructed, but the door immediately shut behind him. He panicked and shouted. Number 2 leisurely said he hoped to enjoy the show below. Wu Ming had no choice but to go deeper. The endless corridor made him wonder if it had an end. Keeping on without reaching it irritated him. Then he turned to look back. He immediately sprinted the other way. He burst holy light into a short blade, carved a mark on the wall to test for a looping ghost wall. Seeing the mark intact, he felt reassured, then continued deeper into the corridor, but soon his steps halted. In front of him were his own traces. He really was looping. Even so, he sighed in relief at not meeting anything bizarre. No sooner said than a ghostly creature appeared behind him. Wu Ming stayed calm as if expecting it. Even as it charged, he didn't move. He spoke a line that made it freeze. This was only a dungeon. No monsters existed here. Immediately the shadow spirit dissolved. Dark corridor stretched on again before him. He concluded words here became reality, and muttered further guesses. Outside, number 2 watched proudly. The director had found the key point. Number 1, cleaning, said Wu Ming might discover even number 2's secrets. He denied it and badmouthed the director, but before he finished, he vanished, leaving only the remark that Wu Ming was still a good person. Number 1000 also vanished, only sighing in lament. Number 2 appeared in panic after being summoned. Wu Ming, seeing him sprawled out, found it amusing. He struggled awkwardly to stand. Wu Ming smirked, asking if the basement act was fun, then signaled him to guide the way. Number 2 pouted, but shrank under his gaze. He immediately switched to flattery, but Wu Ming coldly said he believed none of it. They reached a vast plaza with countless cells hanging around. Wu Ming asked if shouting would echo. Number 2 said it was the director's ritual, so he actually called out. Instantly pounding noises echoed everywhere. He froze, asking if real people were locked inside. Number 2 confirmed even with locks gone and the place abandoned, some had never escaped. He was shocked there were jailbreaks. Number 2 blamed the previous director, then he pointed to one cell as an example. Wu Ming followed and approached it. Seeing inside, he jolted the prisoner was Lamia. Number 2 said this inmate had escaped before, with records noting attempts and wardens. The file described Lamia as having a split soul and violent nature, even killing her true body. Wu Ming realized both body and soul could be imprisoned here, and number 2 confirmed it. He wanted to see more, but number 2 refused due to insufficient clearance. Wu Ming muttered that even the director was restricted by the warden. He asked whether the All-God Hospital's patients were also treated as criminals here. Number 2 stammered, making him wave it off, saying no need to explain. Wu Ming walked along the cells, suspecting too many had escaped. Number 2 said only a bit over 10. He asked if they all came from Blue Planet. Seeing his reaction, Wu Ming drew the answer himself. He laughed bitterly, calling them truly impressive. Looking at Lamia, he asked who was stronger among the escapees. Number 2 said Lamia was the weakest. He frowned, remembering he almost died twice to her. He lamented that if he had to catch them all, had died tens of thousands of times. Number 2 said the revival letters couldn't handle that many. Wu Ming gritted his teeth, mocking that at least he learned resurrection had limits. Number 2 hurried to flatter him again. He forced down his anger, telling himself he'd drop dead if he kept talking. He sighed to calm down, then asked if there was any locator data on the escaped inmates. Number 2 said none. He clenched his fist, demanding at least a tracking method. Number 2 said it all depended on fate. Hearing that, both fell silent. Right then Lamia said she knew how to find her comrades. He turned back skeptically, asking what she wanted. She spoke seductively, saying escapees had their own communication channel. He asked for the terms. She smiled, baring teeth, demanding release. He turned away immediately, rejecting her. She screamed to escape the dark tier. Hating this place, she said as long as she left the dungeon, even confined in the hospital, she couldn't harm him. Number 2 asked if the director wanted to reconsider Lamia's offer. Wu Ming's steps halted in the corridor. He abruptly asked whether those jailbreaks were truly spontaneous, or if someone aided them from behind the scenes. He warned them not to touch Lan Xing and head overlook anything else, then walked off, voice full of threat. Opening the door, he met number 1, who greeted him and said patient no. One hadn't been treated in a while. He sneered, thinking he was defending his brother. But number one said they served the director first. He understood. The dungeon mess was the previous director's fault. Number one said she served only briefly and came just to take some items. He asked what those items were. He answered vaguely things taken from patients, details unknown. Wu Ming doubted how she opened all wards. Number one insisted she was a genius and he shouldn't compare. He froze a few seconds, feeling intellectually insulted, then turned away without another word. The two staff members exchanged looks. Number one advised the director to focus on the present. Number two pointed upward, saying that was also its intention. Number one glanced at the object hanging above and said this time it was wrong. Wu Ming entered the ward, hoping the patient wasn't too unstable today, but as he opened the door, a figure shot out. She laughed madly, calling him her child and rushing to hug him. She wept, scolding him for not visiting, leaving him stunned at the sudden change in address. He gently coaxed her back into the room, but she insisted on going for a walk. Seeing her pitiful look, he reluctantly agreed. She is guided outside, happily admiring the scenery. She suddenly looks toward the basement, saying many strong auras lie below. He asks how they compare to her. She admits they far surpass her and could destroy the world. He becomes serious upon hearing that. She notices his expression and asks. He answers vaguely, but inside, he worries those world destroyers might break free. It's clear their goal is to annihilate Langsing Blue Star. Behind them, no one confirms the director guessed right. No two anxiously asks if hell kill them. No one pats his younger brother, saying the director has issues but is still good at heart. He helps Gay outside and asks if she remembers what the former director once took from her. She mutters that the woman took something. That very thing. At the memory, Guy's eyes blaze. Her expression twists into madness, but she faints before losing control, letting him sigh in relief. He calls the end a book for support. He checks whether medicine and conditions meet the draw lots training standard. He waits in the courtyard for a while. The two staff brothers appear. He sternly asks if they intend to tell the truth. They evade but insist they won't betray him while his director. He smiles subtly and asks them to go talk to Lamaya to force her cooperation. Next day, Suok Sanji sees Wu Ming off. Nanqing warns that if he meets someone unbeatable, just concede no shame. Ningning cuts in, saying to smash anyone annoying. Life for life is fine. Bivy covers her mouth, telling him to know when to be tough and when to yield. In short, endure to the end to qualify for entry. Nanqing pats his shoulder, saying the rest is up to him. The vehicle stops before the camp. Everyone helps him unload. The main gate opens in welcome. Liu Bei turns to see who has arrived. He exclaims, naming Tu Ying. She is an old instructor he hasn't seen in a long time. He asks whom she's seeing off. She says she's the new instructor. Liu Bei secretly pities the unlucky recruits. Nanqing frowns, saying giving her recruits is courting disaster. Tu Ying smirks, hinting he remembers the past. He startles at that. Dark memories resurface. Back then she said, if you can't train them to death, then train them until they die. The recollection chills him. Wu Ming asks Ning Ning who she is. One look at Ning Ning bolts, calling her a demon in human skin. Ning Ning jumps in the car and slams the lock. She admits defeat, wishes him luck, and retracts all earlier advice. He grows more confused, unsure of the hidden meaning. She stresses the new instructor is every graduating class nightmare. Bai Wei trembles lightly, then leaves. She explains briefly that the woman is like a god age 27 but teaching for 2 decades. Thanks to a rare ability, every graduating team is trained by her. Superiors granted her a title. Her students can defeat 18 monster soldiers. He is stunned and doubtful. Saishu confirms that even if exaggerated, 3 would be easy. He suddenly recalls something. He wonders why their whole team fought while exhausted before. She explains their team was unusual. He asks for clarity. Sishui turns away, locks the door, and refuses to reveal. On the other side, Tuing remarks is not very quick. Bivy defends him, saying he's just too pure. She confidently says hell mature under her guidance. Then she urges them to regroup and return to camp. Wu Ming carries his gear and follows. Nanqing tearfully tells him to take care of himself. He looks back emotionally before entering. Only then does he steady himself and proceed. Ning Ning mocks him. Bivy tells her to lower her voice or hell here. The training zone is enclosed by electrified steel fencing. Tuing notes his physique is good but combat output too low. Based on the video, she asks about his strange power source. He avoids it. She calmly says she won't force him. He wonders if all instructors ask so many questions. She says she only cares about him. Then she points to the enrollment building, telling him to enter alone. He frowns, realizing he holds many secrets. He sighs, suppressing the urge to question further. He walks into the building, telling himself to forget everything and live in the present. He completes the procedures swiftly. He just fills the form and signs. The manager gives him the key to room 501 in Zone 3. Wu Ming opens the dorm door. He sees his roommate's name, Shinai, which sounds odd. He sets down his things and lies to rest. His consciousness shifts to the Crystal Hospital. No one reports the director has returned. He sees her in the garden and wonders. No one points at the thorns, explaining her mind stabilized after treatment. The fresh air helps recovery, so he took her outside. He praises but worries about their shifts. No one answers immediately. He says that's why he sought extra help. A chained figure appears. He looks closely in curiosity. It's the Lamaya creature. No one bows, calling him director. He is surprised. No one says it lets him care for Gaia while restraining Lamaya. He rubs his head, saying the explanation still feels wrong. This is like releasing a beast into a chicken coop. No one reassures him patient no. One doesn't fear it. He worries the opposite. She pushes her glasses, saying she's restrained now and harmless. He doesn't believe it, since she lied similarly before. No one says there's another method. He asks what it is. He whispers in his ear. He frowns in doubt. No one insists the former director used it. He asks who the target was back then. No one points to himself and his younger brother. He can only sigh, then decides to send it there first. Saying so, he leaves, leaving the two to handle it. No one drags Lamia despite its protests. He responds with a cold word. Chains spill out, binding Lamia tight. He chants softly, then carries it through the wall. Wu Ming enters another room elsewhere. Seeing surgical tools, his shock there's an operating site inside the wall. He approaches the instrument table for a clearer look. He wonders why many items don't resemble proper surgical tools. No one arrives, saying only this hospital has such tools. Lamia screams, cursing the traitor. He frowns, repeating the word traitor. No one sets her on the table, saying she was never loyal to betray. Iron locks immediately secure her whole body. He asks if Wu Ming wants to operate. He declines, saying he's just an intern and depends on the mentor's mood. He calmly says he'll only observe. No one bows and asks to begin. In a blink, he changes into blue surgical wear. He reassures her anesthesia will prevent pain, then starts brain surgery on Lamia. The scene chills Wu Ming. This place feels nothing like a real hospital. 10 minutes later, he lowers the sickle blade. He reports he cut out the evil soul fragment and grafted goodwill in. She's now harmless. The separated soul part can be accessed via patient code. His shock since no one has that feature. Not even Gaia. No one shrugs, saying most former patients do. He sighs and asks how to unlock it. No one coughs lightly and returns to normal form. He says patient no one has recovered 30%. At this rate, she needs nightly therapy and will meet requirements in half a month. Hearing this, he grows wary, likening himself to an overworked pack horse. While he rests, someone kicks the door open. A brash voice complains the room is as cramped as a toilet. A chubby kid loaded with gold appears. It's Chuji Xiapan, young master of the Chuji family, is surprised to see Wu Ming inside. Xiapan apologizes for his rude underling. He says has not offended. Xiapan cheerfully introduces himself and asks to be called Xiapan. Seeing his friendliness, Wu Ming states his own name. Xiapan laughs, giving him the nickname Lao Ye. Wu Ming secretly finds him likable. He eyes the maids and asks if the camp allows bringing people in. Xiapan boasts that money can command ghosts, let alone the living. The maids report the cleaning done and ask to leave. He nods. Wu Ming is surprised the room is spotless. Xiapan slings an arm over him, saying to use anything freely since is loaded. Wu Ming murmurs, feeling this generosity is like being kept. A loudspeaker calls everyone to dinner. Xiapan excitedly drags him to see what good food there is. The mess hall is packed with recruits. Xiapan soaks at the bland meal, regretting not bringing his chef. Wu Ming asks, he says his family supplies most materials to the cultivation corps. Wu Ming wonders why a young master suffers here. Xiapan says it's for ideals. The vague words confuse Wu Ming. Xiapan beats his chest proudly, saying luxury is boring, he wants adventure. Wu Ming laughs, his ambition is strange. Xiapan grows more excited, insisting it's true. He whispers he heard the instructor is Tu Ying. Rumor says she's extremely ruthless and they're doomed. Wu Ming sighs and confirms she was the one who brought him in. The news makes Xiapan spit out his soup. Wu Ming dodges, but someone else gets drenched. The one at Bailey angrily shouts. He roars he'll kill someone, then forms a spirit domain, demanding a fight. Without another word, he prepares to attack Xiaopan, but someone stops him in time. Wu Ming smiles to mediate, apologizing for his friend and asking him to calm down, but he stays furious, shouting the apology back. He throws a kill-intended punch. Wu Ming blocks lightly, noting his too tense. Xiaopan also lunges to defend his friend. Vowing to risk his life, he summons a giant hammer to strike, but an external force instantly blasts him away. The one acting is Zi Ying, who has just appeared. She smiles, saying if they like fighting, she'll handle it. Then she frowns, clasping her hands as if locking something. Wu Ming panics, realizing he can't move at all. Bailey roars for her to get out of the way. Xiaopan pales, knowing they angered a death god. She coldly sentences, the three must run 30 laps around the base, then hurls all of them outside without hesitation. She sits and warns anyone unruly will run with them. The mess hall falls silent. Outside, Xiaopan groans in pain, but still admires her overpowering dominance. Balai blames him and threatens death. Xiaopan is confused since it was just an accident. Wu Ming intervenes, urging them to run or lose their beds. He admits everyone was wrong and agrees Zi Ying is truly terrifying. Bailey says her spirit domain is a super dangerous 005 type and she reached rare Hong rank. Wu Ming asks what Hong rank is. Bailey mocks him for ignorance. Xiaopan soothes him and explains the hierarchy from low to high. Huan, Xuan, Dai, Taian, Huan, Ong, Zhu, Wu. From D upward one enters the main corps. Captains are usually Qian. Xiaoying is rare even in that system, and most 4 people in the corps reach Zhu rank. Wu Ming asks if Wu rank exists. Bailey cuts in saying none have heard of it. Wu rank nears godhood so it's hard to reach, but half Wu exists. He asks who that is. Bailey crosses his arms and claims it's him. Xiaopan mocks him for being weak. Bailey shouts that the corpse recognizes him as half Wu. Xiaopan waves him off teasingly. He rages and threatens, but Xiaopan isn't scared. Wu Ming steps in, asking for a serious explanation. Xiaopan says due to his unique domain, if Bailey fully releases it he becomes his true form, but then his mind burns out and he becomes a berserker. Through that he touches half Wu. Normally he has just an average Huang rank. Xiaopan raises his pinky, calling him trash. Bailey explodes and tries to hit him, further provoked. Wu Ming can only despair because everyone around him is unstable. He spends another day missing Captain Lu and his mother. Next morning both still sleep soundly in the dorm. The wake-up siren blasts through the hall. Xiaopan jumps up and falls, clutching his butt in pain. He curses the speaker as if it wants him dead. Wu Ming also is hearing the order to gather in 10 minutes. Xiaopan panics dressing. Wu Ming suspects it's intentional trouble. 10 minutes later rookies pack the yard. Xiaopan pants heavily, then notices a familiar hairstyle. It's Bailey, still mocking as he appears. Someone asks if Wu Ming is raising 2 fighting cocks. He turns to see the speaker as a girl. She is cute rookie, she repeats. Asking if he's raising these 2 fighting cocks, Wu Ming shyly apologizes, saying his friends are used to brawling. She cheerfully says if he can't manage them, she will. Bailey retorts irritably. Yinxu smiles but grips her dagger, threatening to cut his tongue. She instantly shifts into an attack stance. Wu Ming pulls his roommates back. Without a word, she charges in. Xia panics, praising her danger. Wu Ming also wonders if anyone here is normal. In a blink, she knocks all the rookies flying. Everyone draws weapons to counter. The training yard turns into chaotic combat. Ziying finally appears. Relaxed, she tilts her head to dodge a flying brick. She sighs at the messy, immature crowd, then instantly uses a suppression skill. Countless hands rise from the ground. Rookies scream as they're chased, but none escape the grasping hands. All are gathered and subdued. She greets her colleagues. Their leader responds. She smirks darkly. Same morning calls for higher difficulty. Lu Dong hesitantly asks if it's okay. She calmly says a trial right after sign-in is fitting. Then a powerful force erupts from her. It shoots toward the nearby forest. The trees seem infused with life, revealing fierce faces. As her spirit power pours in, countless giant trees begin to move. They flood into the yard, pressing the rookies. Wu Ming is startled by the sight. He drags Xiaopan to run, urging haste. He smashes a dirt creature, baffled by her strange domain. Xiaopan reveals its creation power. Once likened to Nua, able to form beings from nothing, he shudders. This battlefield feels like 10,000 troops. He glances at the instructors, wondering how terrifying Gaia's peak must be. Ziying remains calm, watching. Lu Dong worries they'll be trained until they break. She says coldly the useless don't deserve to be pillars. He only sighs for the youngsters. After 3 hours most are captured. She withdraws her skill, satisfied, saying it's quiet now, then announces the start of official training. Her force sweeps across the depot area. She orders preparation for a 50 kilometers weighted run. The rookies are stunned and want to quit. Wu Ming is nearly paralyzed with fatigue. Balai blames her. Yinxu threatens to cut his tongue again. She darkly says this time she'll actually cut. He panics, knowing she means it, asking if she's insane. Wu Ming sighs, feeling everyone is like mental patients, but he snaps alert upon hearing they'll get another 50 kilometers penalty if slow. He notices Xiaopan spring up nimbly. Xiaopan brags that though chubby, his agile. Bailey is shocked. Yingxu exposes he faked being dead for hours. They finally learn the truth and stare at shameless Xiaopan. She teases they stand together like a tragic love triangle. The other two gag while Wu Ming stays unreactive. He snaps, saying no one wants drama and telling Bailey to stop being annoying. He urges everyone to hurry or be forced into extra training. The group quickly runs to grab the sacks. After the run, Xiaopan unlocks the dorm. The two support each other back to the room. He collapses, finally understanding why the commander is so feared. Xiaopan curses that she treats them like beasts, first using earthwood constructs, then forcing a 50 kilometers weighted run, then using soul scare tactics, truly a cruel. In human type, Wu Ming speaks slowly. He climbs to his bed, asking if creation power can spawn demons. At that time the rookies are still running. Someone feels cold breath at his ear. Huang Min turns back. He mutters someone blew on his neck. Bailey runs up teasing he's so tired he's stupid. Qing Yang seriously says he really felt it and suspects a ghost. He turns to scold but sees something. His face goes pale as he stammers. Then he screams and bolts, stunning Bailey. Then Bailey feels someone tap his shoulder and laugh. He spins, yelling who's laughing behind him, but seeing the pale face, he freezes, then runs even faster than the first man. Panicked, Bailey uses his escape skill. He even shoots past Wu Ming's group. Wu Ming frowns, saying teammates scare him worse than ghosts. Before he finishes, a ghost woman stands smiling behind him. Wu Ming instantly throws a punch. He curses that after training with top monsters, he fears nothing. The ghost is punched away, screaming why he hit her face. Wu Ming has no intention of discussing ethics with a ghost, but it vanishes before he can strike again. He sighs. Amazed creation power can produce ghosts. Xiaopan thinks some instructor is controlling a ghost domain, not creating them from nothing. Wu Ming stands and asks if they can go eat dinner. His friend replies helplessly he can't even lift a finger. Hearing this, Wu Ming senses bad luck. With 3 minutes left, an instructor is able to drag them. Xiaopan groans he's too tired to eat. The loudspeaker calls everyone to the canteen. Ziaing warns absence counts as a violation. Runaways will taste night parade of 100 ghosts. Subordinates shudder. Finding her terrifying, Wu Ming says there's no escape. Xiaopan cries for heaven to smite her. Soon she stands arms crossed. Disappointed everyone showed up. He whispers she has bad intentions. Someone says behind her she resembles the Ren Huang squad. Xiaopan turns to see who spoke. The man smiles in greeting, introducing himself as Tao Ji. Xiaopan cheerfully introduces himself and Wu Ming. He says he knows them too who caused a cafeteria riot. Xiaopan stiffens. The man apologizes, saying he's blunt. Wu Ming asks about the Yin Huang, wondering if the black-clad ones belong to that squad. He nods, saying their outfit matches and the morning ghost fits their ghost arts unit, but their aura feels unusually strange. Yinexu says Ziying was once an instructor of the Yin Huang squad, so soldiers around her act like quails. He recalls Ning Ning's reaction and agrees, but something still feels off. Ziying's age doesn't match the team's long history. Xiaopan asks what he was mumbling. Wu Ming dodges the question. The rookies are herded into the cafeteria. He panics seeing the meal is as bad as vegetable wash water. He blocks his roommate from eating, but Ziying hears and asks what is implying. Xiaopan hurriedly denies it. She coldly thanks them for the feedback and confirms it is pot wash water. To spare them from drinking more, she assigns Xiaopan the responsibility. She smiles slyly, telling him to go buy meat outside. He pales, stammering if she means actually buying it. She smiles, saying he must walk 4 or 5 hours out of base to the supermarket and buy a lot. Returning without a cart, she adds, "Work hard, comrade Xiaopan," and leaves. She walks off immediately. Xia panics, not understanding her intent. Wu Ming also finds it unreasonable for such a small amount. He slumps down, lamenting he can't carry that alone. A Yin Huang member says she meant the whole group must go down the mountain to buy meat. Xiaopan is confused. The man explains it's a new training task and they should eat now to have strength. So everyone obediently eats buns. Another Yin Huang member warns the captain the hint was clear, or the instructor will train them with the rookies. Yang Kao adds it's like holding an umbrella for others when someone gets wet. Suddenly Ziying appears, saying she'll tear that umbrella apart. From tomorrow the Yin Huang squad must train with the rookies. Next morning at sunrise, both groups have to gather fully. Ming 2 points and tells the captain to look. Yang Kao asks what is pointing at. Teammates complain their umbrella has been shredded and can't cover anything. Ziying reminds them this fog disaster nearly wiped troops, so strict training is needed or they'll end up grave sweeping. She uses the mic to say yesterday's performance was awful. She calls them weak, scared of ghosts, undisciplined, making people doubt the selection standards. But as an instructor, she'll give them a chance by inviting seniors. The Yin Huang squad instantly leaps onto the platform. 4 kneel before Ziying. Other instructors raise 3 red flags. She says for 1 week those 3 must guard the flags, and rookies win by 1 by any means. Qing Yang asks what if they seize all 3. Ziying raises a brow, saying they'll get a week off. She says Shiz explained clearly. The rest is up to them, don't disappoint her. In the yard, rookies feel like collapsing. They complain it's rigged, how can they take flags from a top 10 squad? The 3 Yin Huang members finish receiving the flags. Ming Tu asks the captain if this task is too easy. Yang Kao frowns. He says the rookies aren't as weak as the instructor claims. With swarm tactics, how can 5 resist them? Wu Ming studies the flag guards. Xiaopan pats it, saying with so many people, even spitting would drown Yin Huang. Then taking the flag will be effortless. Yinexu mocks that it's only easy for the fat one. Xiaopan fumes at constant teasing. Tao Zi says Yinexu isn't wrong, their group's highest is Xuan rank while Yin Huang's lowest is Qin rank. Their coordination is near perfect, so new recruits would be wiped out in a direct clash. Bailey asks if he should just unlock and end it, clearing them in minutes. Yinexu laughs that he can't tell friend from foe and might chop teammates. Xiaopan agrees, they bicker again, and Wu Ming helplessly urges them to focus on strategy. Charging recklessly only wastes their forces. An hour later the recruits gather in the room. Tao Zi says they need to list everyone's abilities to plan some object. Asking why they should listen to him, Bailey releases his pressure, then grins and threatens with his fists disobey and fight. Others hurry to mediate. Tao Zi smiles, saying is only helping gather info. The group will choose the commander. Yinexu asks who will lead. Wu Ming says Toji is the calmest and fits. She feigns surprise. He says he dislikes thinking. Yinexu volunteers to command, promising a spectacular battle. Wu Ming sighs, thinking they'll all be sacrificed before fighting. Xiaoban brings the completed intro sheets. Bailey doubts the method. He says they'll only know by trying. Wu Ming asks the result. He says they may have found a fitting commander. 2 sheets stand out. Optimal strategy domain. Lizone clairvoyance with 500M shared vision. Xiaoban excitedly compares it to a plus satellite. Taoji takes a deep breath, then announces the 2 commander candidates, Ryu and Li Zhong. The 2 called are 1 man and 1 woman. He hands the paper to the girl, thinking she is Ryu. The boy says is mistaken, he is Ryu. The room falls silent. Taozi gives an awkward smile, saying the name strangely fits. Ryu calmly says he's used to it. He compiles all the data. The screen fills with dense formulas. Ryu says comparing combat power. Winning within a week is just a dream. The room erupts, saying it's impossible and cursing Ziying as a demon. He coughs lightly to regain attention. He presents option 1, harass 24 hours in groups of 5 to exhaust the enemy. Option 2, Once they're tired, split into 5 major squads to suppress, then let small teams seize the flag. Ri asks everyone to choose. Tao Zi chooses plan 2. All agree and begin arranging. Ming Tu asks the captain if recruits can even think of strategy. Yang Kiao says tactics mean nothing before overwhelming power. Tan Hao suggests placing the flag beside Ziying so they won't need to worry. Yang Kiao glares coldly, asking what if he throws him to her. He says it's pointless anyway. Yang Kiao angrily threatens to toss him out to test Rookie's strength. Tan Hao screams reach even Ziying. Lu Dong asks if she's making things hard for recruits. She says she's targeting the Silver Endurance team. As surprised she believes recruits can win, she nods, saying they have brains and clairvoyance. Hard but possible. Lu Dong sighs that her hopes are high. With more training they'd have a chance, but they've only been in camp 3 days. Xia Ying adjusts her sleeve, saying she doesn't want to push but time's up. He asks if Liu Bei reported something. She says the dead bird chirped again. Lu Dong's face turns serious. He smokes, saying higher-ups may set a base in Jingha, and this is preparation. Xia Ying sighs that no matter the prep, it's just march into death sad. She signals him to watch the recruits in action. The lead group creeps forward. Xiaoban grumbles why a stealth attack uses stairs instead of scaling walls. Tao Zi says everyone expects wall climbing, so they do the opposite. The upper floor is exactly where Ziying stands. Lu Dong taps his foot, activating invisibility. He leisurely watches 5 recruits gather, saying what a coincidence. She laughs, listing 1 brainless, 1 with broken endurance force, 1 blinded by money, 1 mentally stable, and 1 pure troublemaker. A fitting team. Wu Ming suddenly stops before them. Lu Dong is shocked, thinking he saw him. Shiz delighted, saying he sensed mental fluctuations a formidable one. He exhales in relief, thinking his ability malfunctioned. Bailey pats his shoulder, asking what's wrong. Wu Ming says maybe he misfelt it. The group keeps climbing. Tao Zi signals Yingsu to observe. Yinexu instantly opens the overlooked spirit domain. A huge form appears. It slips into the ceiling gap. Bailey doubts if Silver Patience team can see something with such big eyes. Yinexu draws a knife, threatening to gouge his eyes and throw him up there to test. Wu Ming quickly stops her, saying more noise will alert the whole building. Li Dong says they're disorganized and quarrelsome. Xiaoying praises this unpredictability as useful. They decide to switch to observing another group. Suddenly Yin Su receives an image in her mind. She sees Silver Phoenix team gathered. Tao Zi asks. She reports they're all there and unguarded. Bailey smirks, saying let's go educate them. He startles and stops him. The group looks at each other helplessly, then still decides to act. The Silver Phoenix team's door is blasted open. Inside, they're shocked someone dares charge in. A beam splits Yang Kiao's body. The attacker is Bailey, but the body dissolves. He appears behind, mocking it's just an afterimage, saying their power is weak. Yang Kiao shoots white threads, pin Bailey to the wall. The web tightens. He cries, asking for warning. Wu Ming appears, summoning swords. He charges the Silver Phoenix team. At the same time someone pulls Bailey down. Yinexu coldly says is not dying, so stop whining. Her body turns to smoke. She condenses Kai into a sword, shocking him. She says it's just a skill focus on fighting. Wu Ming is fighting Tan Hao. Her spirit domain forms a grasping hand, seemingly about to catch him, but Tan Hao shifts to wraith form, reminding her of their god domains. She curses that fighting ghost types is idiotic. He easily appears behind her. Elsewhere Tao Ji forms seals. Spirit power surges around. He quickly locates Yinshu and Tan Hao. With a blink pulls Yinexu out of danger. Her strike lands on empty space. Xiao Ban hides behind the door trembling, thinking they're truly fighting. He believes their coordination is seamless, so none would fake anything to him. Xiao Ban swiftly bends to escape, then he drops several strange pellets. Thick smoke erupts, blocking the enemy's view. From the mist a figure bursts out to strike. Bailey laughs and counters with a downward punch. Impacts boom across the room. 2 proctors in the lobby stare at each other in shock. Lu Dong explodes in rage, shouting to protect his building. The entire floor before them suddenly collapses. A group staggers out, coughing. Both recruits in Silver Ring are safe from the rubble. He roars angrily that they neglected the flag duty. Xia Ying tries to stop him, but he keeps yelling. Lu Dong declares held discipline and all on the spot. This time even Ziying gives up. She orders everyone to disperse immediately. They fling skills and flee for their lives. Tan Hao dodges in panic. Xiao Ban boasts his tricks. Then a hand suddenly grabs him. Lu Dong clenches the net, catching them at the perfect moment. Xiao Ban cries over losing the net. Yin Su drags him away, scolding for gifting it. Of course his strength far surpasses the recruits. He hurls the net toward the 2. Xia Ying steps, saying the difficulty is already too high. The trap shrinks quickly in her hand. She sighs, annoyed by their chaos. Meanwhile the recruits group meets in the room. They ask what's happening since no one returned. Yayo glances at the person beside her for input. Lai Zong holds his head, saying it's a long story they angered the chief instructor. All freeze, not understanding how they provoked such a high rank. Shi's about to continue when everyone erupts. The door is kicked open by Wu Ming. He yells to shut it fast because the chief instructor is coming. Yao props up Xiao Ban, saying they went from fighting Silver Ring to fighting the chief instructor. He explains they accidentally blew up the office, enraging him. The room's morale collapses instantly. Heavy footsteps echo in the hall. Everyone inside tenses to the extreme. Xiaoban urges Bela to open the door. He refuses since he didn't cause the explosion. Yinexu shoves it, telling him to handle the mess he made. The chaos forces Toji use a speech seal spell. Three faces get talismans slapped over their mouths. Wuming pats shoulders, urging them to pause the arguing. Then he steps forward to open the door himself. To their surprise, it's Ziying who appears. Wuming politely greets her and returns the deposited item. He thanks her. Ziying leaves, ordering they must win. She says she wants to see them overwhelm the other team. Her words leave Wuming slightly stunned. He turns back holding the returned item. Xiaoban, still sealed, muffles cries. Tao Zi finally removes the talismans. Xiaoban exhales in relief, praising Ziying's kindness. Wuming notes the situation exposed many weaknesses. Li Zong says the first limitation is Wuming's vision range. He adds that their coordination is still delayed and prone to errors. Wuming silently reviews the data. He takes out a separate file. The group leans in curiously. On the sheet is only Chuji. Mental link cycle. Yayo asks who Chuji is. A short-haired girl steps up and identifies herself. Wuming asks if she can transmit Li Zong's images. She says she's not high-level enough. The answer stalls the plan. Someone else offers to help. He says his spirit domain can boost range power by 1 level. Wuming praises it as extremely strong support. Yinexu agrees. Hu Jiao shyly says the boost is limited by his own level. Taoji encourages that his domain deserves a command role. Two proctors in the distance still observe the group. Lidong sips tea, praising how they built a complete command team themselves. Xiaoying teases that someone once underestimated recruits. Li Dong says he judged their backing. He suddenly remembers something crucial. This exam selects personnel for headquarters. She says frankly this round can reveal many promising teams. For example, Wu Ming's group chaotic but fit to form a new unit. She predicts they're no worse than Team 10. Lu Dong reminds her of her instructor duty. Does she plan to choose them? She watches the youths closely and softly says yes. Li Dong asks whom exactly she'll choose. She doesn't answer directly, saying their messiness matches the need. Lu Dong understands and can only sigh. He pities whoever must take responsibility for them. Ziyang switches to another channel. The screen shows the Silver Phoenix team. Tanhao complains about the brat's dirty tricks. Mingtu fumes because a spirit bomb ruined his look. Yankao stays dark and silent. Then he suddenly flips the table. He yells at teammates for letting rookies shame them. Tanhao calmly says he didn't expect rookies rich enough for explosive spirit beasts. Yang Qiao knocks his head, scolding him for making excuses despite the intel. They're reminded of Xiaopeng from Jia Zhe's wealthy family. Mingtu whispers to Chen Fan that the captain also got blasted. He calls him short-tempered. The captain appears behind him, scaring Chen Fan pale. Yang Qiao sternly calls the team to regroup. Scenes shift to the training yard where Bai Fe's four discuss under the sun. Bai asks how many times now. She says the third time. They watch a spirit herald on the fence cry toward the sky. Bai Wei turns back to record this is the fourth time. Ning Ning wonders why no anomalies appear in the city. Nanqing pats her, saying no signs is the biggest sign. He explains Song Ning is always anomalous, so a city with 0 traces is the true threat. Liu Bei lounges half asleep, lamenting they can't drag this for years. He warns time is running out and they must hurry. Scene returns to camp, where Wu Ming is planning. Four sit in a circle, pale blue light around them as Ryu signals to begin. Chuji closes her eyes, focusing power. Strong light threads spread from her like conduits. One beam links straight into Wu Ming's forehead. Another beam attaches to Li Zong's glazed eyes. Onlookers outside pale at the strange scene. Tao Zi sighs that this team is truly unlucky. Hu Jiao watches sternly, then calls him for his turn. He closes his eyes to activate his support spirit domain. Blue energy forms a shield around the group. Yaya joins in, deploying her skills seriously. Several energy lines converge behind and flow into Wu Ming. They cling to his forehead, making him ask in confusion what they are. Xiaoban listens, then hears Wu Ming's voice directly in his mind. His shocked by the direct mental transmission, Yinexu snaps at him to quiet down because her head hurts. Ryu is surprised the effect exceeds expectations. Seeing multiple viewpoints, Taoji is thrilled since this prevents comm interference. Chuji notes the broadcast range is only a few meters at current level, but long-range links under 10 people still hold, so they must pick the next. Everyone turns toward Zhou Yao. He analyzes their teamwork is still clumsy, so only one scout should go. After thinking, he calls Yingxi's name. Shi's surprised, thinking she already went earlier. He says it's because she has the best experience in fitting skills. Yayo looks at her expectantly. Yinexu reluctantly accepts since being good is suffering. She becomes the next to receive the power stream. Chuji reassures her the links turn invisible outside. Yinexu warns she'll deal with her if that's wrong. After sensing, she spreads her wings and leaves. She shoots from the base yard straight into the sky. Through the window they feel envy. With those wings should shine, but Bela jokes they're weak, can't handle his power, and would cause trouble. While they wait to pursue, afar Wu Ming stands calmly with folded arms. A strange voice suddenly speaks in his mind, making him respond nervously. The man's gaze aims forward, reminding him not to reveal anything. Wu Ming pretends calm, then asks again mentally. The man glances and assigns him reconnaissance and capturing the battle flag. He frowns, suspecting the man expects too much. The telepath recalls his records, saying his past feats prove he can. Wu Ming feels uneasy, sensing his being pushed into danger. After some calculations, the man comforts him that survival odds are high. Chen Fan's spirit form returns to class like a gust. It rushes to its host instantly. The touch transfers all information. Yankou rises and asks. Chen Fan confirms the other group plans to send the Light Wing Girl to scout. Yankou darkens, saying they're still arrogant despite defeat. Team members tense under his rebuke. He claps, saying don't act like mourners. If the enemy wants intel, they should feed them bait. The other three agree to follow orders. 10 minutes later, Yinixu near Silver Ring's position. She activates her sensing domain to track divine force traces. Kunhao reports the two have appeared. Chen Fan assures all four will guard the twin flags. The captain waves for the subordinates to disperse. The scout eye gathers data, then withdraws. It glides past the wooden cabinet, then phases through the wall up to the roof. Unaware of the eerie smile left behind, the vision returns and merges into Yinixu. She scowls in frustration, says she found no secret escape route at all. Juju also notes Silver Patience wouldn't use childish tricks. Yinixu asks if she should check in person, but is reminded she only gathers intel. At most she should tail the four who left. Taozi guesses the four don't exist, confusing her since the flag pair sounded arrogant. Yinixu suddenly recalls a vague clue. She laughs, wanting to seize the flag. Yao can locate the target. She's sure the flag is here and the leader isn't the real captain. He rejects it, saying the power gap means suicide, but Yinixu ignores him, saying this is a notice, not a request. As she departs, Yao fumes at the reversal. Taozi advises calm prideful ones never obey. He still disapproves but accepts. Taozi says it may not be bad. He says trust her strength, arrogant but not useless. Maybe she'll find a clue accidentally. Glass shatters under her strike. Yinixu dives in, wings spread wide. The seated man laughs, cloak fluttering. Yankou greets her confidently. Yinixu calmly confirms his identity. He rises, claiming his group didn't deceive. She gives a thumbs up for the truth as deception tactic. He replies modestly, but he declares he'll eliminate her first. Removing one fighter gives him advantage. Spiral souls rush toward her, but her domain wall blocks them. Holy Radiance shields Yinixu. Her domain's divine form manifests. Yankou delights at meeting Lucifer. The god form opens its eyes on him. With a few moves it erases the demons. Yankou asks if it's the true body or remnant will. Lucifer raises the sword, warning him for staring, then unleashes a brutal strike. He dodges in panic, accusing her of overkill. He complains he held back, yet she tries to kill him. Before he finishes, killing intent erupts. Lucifer flashes behind him, ready to stab the lethal blow, but a demon bailiff appears behind him. It's a soul reaper. The bailiff hurls chains at Lucifer, catches and yanks, roaring soul hook. Yinixu leaps to protect her idol. She lifts her scythe, mocking the small Eastern reaper daring to touch a god, then slices the chain clean. Yankou warns that such power has a steep price and she can't maintain it long, but Yinixu ignores him, shouting loud objections. Lucifer instantly swings the sword to punish him for talking. Yankou abruptly splits his form to evade skillfully. While they clash chaotically, Wu Ming hides behind the desk. He fears getting dragged into this disaster. Watching the chaos, he suddenly panics at something odd. A big stone drops on his head, hurting and ronged. He suspects the two did it on purpose. He gets up and sneaks toward the nearby cabinet. Wu Ming grows uneasy. Michael never had such a cabinet, but opening it reveals a flag inside. He happily reaches for the prized item, but freezes at a sense of danger. Wu Ming's face hardens as he abandons the grab. A chain suddenly whips the cabinet. Yankou sneers, thinking he's about to catch him. Wu Ming draws his sword to counter. Yinixu loudly scolds, while he retorts the cabinet opened too loudly. He says he chose this cabinet to stop kids stealing things. Yinixu calmly reverts to human form. She interrogates him about the mountain treasure being emptied. He boasts it was deception tactics. Wu Ming hurls his sword at him. He states the group has known this long ago. He scoffs at the attack, but Wu Ming says it's not for injury. The blade splits into cloth ribbons, binding him tight. Yankou is shocked it's a technique like Zhou Nancheng's. He explains it's only an imitation but works. He says only the original could actually capture him. Suddenly orange smoke fills the room. It makes him dizzy. Wu Ming apologizes, saying he dislikes imprisoning anyone. As the mist clears, he is stunned. The entire room now holds only him. He rushes to find the flag, but it's gone, and he curses furiously. Outside, Wu Ming carries Yin Shu and the flag while fleeing. He's still angry the kids were too crafty. Yinixu praises his coordinated tactic and suggests teaming again. Wu Ming refuses, fearing her hits. She claims she only drew enemy attention. He accuses her of revenge. She knew the stone hit him. She laughs and admits it. She says it's a skill flaw, can maintain only minutes. Wu Ming complains her chaos forced him to cling to walls. Yinixu raises her sword, challenging him weak or not she can beat him. He responds instantly, ready to duel. They clash fiercely in midair. Below, Tan Hang watches everything, is confused why they still fight after getting the flag. A hand pats his shoulder, making him turn irritated. A heavy slap suddenly hits his shoulder. He grumbles about being disturbed while watching a good fight. Turning, is shocked and tries to ask, but before finishing, Taozi sprays strange mist on his face. The drug takes effect instantly. He collapses with a thud. Taozi laughs triumphantly. He praises Jiaji's family-made spirit region is truly effective. A voice from the vortex urged him to return. He immediately carried Tan Hao up. Then he jumped into the vortex back to the base. Over there, Yao Yo reported the target had arrived. At that moment, Wu Ming and Yingsu were still fighting fiercely. Hearing the report, they stopped the battle at once, both prepared to rush back to the base. Suddenly, two large hands grabbed their necks. Ming Tu appeared with a cold tone. He declared they were not going anywhere. Yang Qiao shouted loudly, ordering them to fall. The two were strangled and hung midair. He slammed them hard to the ground. The impact dented the ground, and Ming Tu mocked their inexperience. Yang Qiao rushed to snatch the flag, saying they lacked strength and he didn't want to continue. Yinexu tightened her grip on the flag, asserting she earned it by skill. Right then, a strong light blasted both Yang Qiao and Ming Tu away. They stared stunned at the mysterious light source. Seeing Wu Ming face down, they worriedly asked if he was okay. He quietly asked to be pulled out first, then a strange voice warned none could escape. Yang Qiao and Ming Tu panicked, searching for the voice's source. Yinexu appeared with dazzling radiance. Her overwhelming force swept everything around. Wu Ming was knocked away. Groaning, he lay sprawled, thinking his luck was truly terrible. The two were stunned by such destructive power. Yinex stood amid the surging energy. She unleashed consecutive strikes on Yang Qiao and Ming Tu. Wu Ming watched and calculated. He worried where the flag had flown since she was out of control. Yao Yo at the base sensed trouble and pressed questions. He replied the Insu had erupted. Similar to Beila's previous case, everyone focused on the monitoring screen. With all eyes on him, he reacted awkwardly. Yao Yao said no one was nitpicking. They just wanted to ask more. He sighed and allowed questions. She asked if one retained reason during an outburst. He complained that was obvious. His answer made Yo-Yo laugh. Understanding the issue, she wondered if Yunsu was completely unconscious. Wu Ming sat on a tree secretly observing the fight. He judged her state similar to a divine form but mindless. Her form changed, growing horns and wings. He added that her eyes had disappeared. Yao Yo and Beili were shocked, making him tell them to lower their voices. He continued analyzing why Beili once manifested when someone descended. Now it seemed that phenomenon was not fixed but altered by the host. Yinex's attacks grew stronger but purely instinctive. The two could hardly hold on. Xiang's voice suddenly sounded right by his ear. He turned back startled, nearly falling. She ordered him to return first and report a training pause. He asked about Yin Chu, and she said she would handle it, so Wu Ming immediately took off for the base. In moments he had flown far, leaving Ziying behind. She approached the tree root, confirming this was indeed the female subject to deal with. Ziying remained calm, not attacking yet. She stood atop the tree watching the chaotic energy below. Dim blue flames surged violently around Lucifer. A freezing aura spread, making everyone shiver. After its form fully transformed, it looked at the two with disdain, calling them trash. Yang Qiao and Ming Tu braced for battle. Lucifer's demonic aura suddenly spiked. It condensed blue light into a massive orb, then swept it at the two like a storm. Yang Qiao cursed inwardly as the foe also lost control. Ming Tu cried out, clueless how to fight this. He instantly turned to run, screaming for them to flee. Seeing them escape, it raised its hand to stop them. In a blink, the giant hand grabbed both. Lucifer roared as blue fire exploded violently. The two were dragged back toward it. A thorn vine suddenly appeared and pulled them away. Then a calm voice sounded, reminding them to stay steady in mind and form. Lucifer couldn't block the counterattack and took it fully. Knocked back, it drew its scythe and demanded the newcomer's identity. A figure approached step by step, radiating icy pressure. Xiaoying appeared, replying with a cold edge. Hearing this, Yang Qiao hurriedly screamed for the instructor's help. She used thorn vines to set them safely down, then greeted Lucifer like an old foe. She said the entity inside Yingsu was causing severe interference. It roared angrily, blue flames bursting as it claimed possession rights. Xiaoying opened her spirit domain, declaring Yingsu's life was off limits. Lucifer laughed maniacally, shaking the space. It mocked that they had always been foolish. The two opponents stood in the battlefield's center. Their clashing auras made space feel dense. Lucifer attacked first, sweeping its blue scythe to tear the air. She easily blocked it with her power, then controlled thorn vines to lock its arms, stopping the next strike. She coldly mocked that a Western god knew nothing of rules. She spun and punched, reminding it to show respect. Lucifer was knocked high. Unable to resist, she leaped after it, saying this move suited putting mongrels in place. The heavy punch unleashed surging energy that slammed into it. Lucifer tried to rise and swing the scythe, but she dodged everything. It screamed her name in fury. Xiaoying delivered a powerful kick as if to blow it away. She shouted that whatever clung to Yingx's body must get out now. Another critical strike sent it crashing down. Screaming, she watched it lie motionless. Unable to rise, she silently rejoiced that Yinex's weak body made expulsion easier. She stepped forward, coldly grabbing the monster's head as if declaring victory. Pulled from Yinex's body, Lucifer howled in rage. Thorn vines lifted the unconscious Yinexu to keep her from falling. Xiaoying answered with an icy gaze that the one about to die was it. With that, she crushed the skull in her hand. The burst of light exploded, then vanished completely. The battle ended, and she exhaled softly. She formed a seat from thorn vines and sat to rest. Looking at her weakening hands, she muttered she still wasn't strong enough. Banishing a mere avatar nearly drained her. Her eyes shifted as she murmured about what might come later. She transferred her last bit of energy into Yinex's forehead. The unconscious girl immediately emitted a warm aura. In another zone, Li Zong was in the M2 observation room. Wu Ming asked for updates. She said Ziying blocked the view, but it seemed safe. He sighed in relief. Tao Chia came over, patting his shoulder, saying he had something to ask. Both understood what the other meant. They faced each other in silence for a moment. Wu Ming spoke first, guessing he wanted to ask about Yin Su losing control. He said he had never seen Beila's mindless state, but Yin Xu's aura just now was identical to Mijia years ago. Tao Chiat wondered if it resembled when she used Divine Descent fighting Captain Yin Huang. Wu Ming shook his head, saying Divine Descent felt reverent. While this was dark and cold, that aura was extremely evil and icy beyond words. He recalled Wu Ming once said Michael felt similar. He nodded to confirm. He said Mijia in his memory was pure, while Michael overflowed with corruption. He recalled his first encounter with that god. Then his hand unconsciously trembled. He changed the subject, asking about Tao Chiat's domain. Guessing it was a divine realm, he summoned a yin-yang symbol, saying it was one of the Sanking of the Tao to Qianzong. He said that sect was originally gentle. Wu Ming laughed, saying that was interesting. That night as Wu Ming slept deeply, his spirit stepped back into the hospital, where the director welcomed him back. Number 1 reported it had been over half a month since the last treatment, and suggested continuing. Hearing that, he stood but didn't leave yet. The director asked why, and he requested all patient records. Number 1 regretfully said he lacked clearance. He mocked that if the director lacked authority, who ran this place? The director explained a protection mechanism. His power was too weak. Forcing access would harm him. He shifted the request to the history of former directors. He warned not to claim no authority again or had stopped caring. He reminded them they must have found him for a reason. Number 1 pondered for quite a while, then said the records were underground and invited him along. They entered a detention-like area where directors' files were kept like prisoners. The director bowed slightly, signaling him to enter. He calmly walked into the open room. On the way, he asked what this hospital truly was. The director replied it was a specialized treatment center for gods. He sneered that he might have believed that if he hadn't seen Lamia's soul disposed of. Number 1 stopped, saying they had reached the records room. He asked for the key. Number 1 said he himself was the key. Every director could open this archive personally. He found the design interesting. As he approached, a golden key appeared in his hand. He opened the door without hesitation. A massive stone door emerged. A blast of dust made him cough hard. Number 1 stifled a laugh, saying it hadn't been cleaned in ages. He grumbled that the man was truly unreliable. He had to wait for the dust to settle. As soon as he stepped in, the door closed automatically. He frowned because the room was pitch dark. Only a few flickering candles provided light. A long row of identical candles sat on the table. Beside them was an ancient wooden table set. He was intrigued that this place differed from the rest of the hospital. A sheet of paper on the wall caught his eye. It listed the 16th director, Sami. Further along were more director lists. At the 93rd term, Calacan. He froze, shocked that this one had been a director. The image showed a skull-headed being with tentacle beard. Wu Ming frowned at the bizarre portrait. Looking closer, the beard seemed to wriggle. He jolted, wondering if it had moved. But in the next blink everything was still. He rubbed his head, thinking the light made him dizzy. Unseen by him, tentacles slipped out from behind the painting. They even prepared to ambush. Instinct made him whirl around, but he still saw nothing, increasing his suspicion. He couldn't shake the sense of something lurking. As he blamed his fatigue, the tentacle shot out of the painting. It wrapped his neck and yanked him back violently. He reacted instinctively, using holy power to counter. That let him break free of the tentacle's grip. He collapsed to the floor, gasping. Then the painting suddenly screamed. Countless tentacles surged out to attack. They lunged to tear him apart. He slashed while cursing what kind of monstrosity this was. A strike from behind was barely blocked. Outside, Number 1 tried to listen for noises. He regretted forgetting to warn the director about living paintings. He feared the boy would die. Thinking further, he even considered selecting a new director if he died. Just then the door was smashed open. A holy blade was placed at his neck. He remained polite, saying anger harmed the director's health. Wu Ming sneered he'd feel better after killing him. He exposed that this wasn't the real Number 1. She revealed her true form. Asking how he guessed, he said the real Number 1 would never send him to his death. The imposter revealed her true shape, Lamaya. She immediately attacked with her tail. Lamaya laughed wickedly that he trusted that dog. She regretted the painting hadn't killed him but preferred doing it herself. He replied calmly that the director had protective tools, but she said this was the detention area where protections no longer applied. He raised a holy shield to block. While fighting, he asked where Number 1 and Number 2 were. She coldly said they were dead. He sensed her power surging. He dashed in to stop her completing her transformation. Wu Ming swung the holy blade with a lethal strike. Deep wounds instantly appeared on Lamaya. She screamed in rage, vowing to tear him apart, but he replied he had already killed her body once, and this time he'd kill her soul too. He struck, making Lamia stagger back. A new skill he was testing appeared in his hand. He raised the weapon to the face of the crazed foe. He drew the bow with a cold smile. Wanting to compare Michael's jeer to Lucifer's, a beam of holy light shot toward her. Lamia smirked, mocking the imitation divine tool. Unexpectedly, the arrow vanished upon touching her serpent tail. Then it turned into a secondary form and rushed at her. Each holy beam shifted into a rain of light. Countless streaks pierced through Lamia. The pain made her collapse and tremble. Wu Ming, satisfied, withdrew the technique. He remarked that recent demon training had been useful. He approached her motionless body. Coldly, he asked where number 1 and number 2 were. She stubbornly dared him to kill. He scoffed, saying she rambled. He only asked where their souls were. He questioned the point of mentioning killing. If she stayed silent, he could still guess their location, and she would be held here, unable to escape. After imprisoning Lamia, he left immediately. He headed straight to the surgery room. He sighed at the sight of 2 tattered bodies hung up. He rubbed his forehead, thinking their capabilities needed review. Wu Ming summoned a holy blade. He swiftly cut the cloth binding them. Number 2 was freed first. Whining foolishly, he glanced to the other side, then slashed off the bindings on number 1. The man thanked the director in surprise. He frowned, demanding the story of their capture. Number 2 eagerly raised his hand to report. He ignored him and asked number 1, who answered orderly. It turned out number 2 was enjoying tea. He suddenly saw Lamia approach. She said there were strange sounds in the surgery room needing inspection. He checked the cameras and saw nothing unusual. Suddenly, the screen flashed with an unclear object. Number 2 flew over to verify. He looked around but found nothing aside from visual glitches. As he returned to give orders, Lamia ambushed him. With 1 strike, she took him down like trash. Number 1 continued. She then came to him, saying number 2 was unconscious in the room. Wu Ming sighed that the 2 combined were dumber than her. Number 2 protested, blaming a sneak attack and claiming they were smarter. Number 1 covered his brother's mouth, admitting their many failures. He brushed it off, asking why Lamia was still chaotic despite her soul being split. Number 1 explained the separated soul might be the one once trapped in the wall. He was surprised, thinking that part had been sacrificed already. The man pulled a book from spatial storage. He opened it, saying Lamia had multiple split forms, each with its own soul. Wu Ming recalled and asked why divided evil souls could generate more. Number 1 gave an example. His own brother resulted from soul regeneration. As were all convicts, that was the purpose of the surgery room. Wu Ming understood they regularly sliced souls of criminals. The man confirmed. He darkened, saying this hospital was no different from a private butcher site. Number 1 defended it as a divine treatment facility. Wu Ming turned away, saying more questions were pointless. He shifted topics, ordering them to follow. They returned to where Lamia was imprisoned. Number 2 joked lying on the floor might cause a cold. She gnashed her teeth in hatred, wishing she had crushed him earlier. He hid behind Wu Ming to taunt her, enraging her further. Wu Ming led, telling number 1 to follow and the other to stay. The 2 went to the data archive room. The man flinched at the scattered tentacles. He nervously asked whether Wu Ming had killed the manager of this place.